Hello, everyone. It's not here. Tonight, of course, we are talking with, or should be talking with, Chris Tamulevich about his book, The Great Cyclopian, on Kickstarter. But he's yet to show up. So let's take that down, and we just have me here. Let's share this out in all the right places. I don't know if. Hey, Mighty Geek. Well, what do we have here? I am. When what's his name gets here, Chris gets here, I will be, of course, going over his stuff about his campaign with him. And how are you doing since last night on his show? Yeah. Okay, he's just got to get to his computer, he's saying. Let's see. We want mines. We're just sharing this out in all the right places. Well, I'm not sure whether all the right places, but a bunch of places, a bunch of places. For ourselves out on the parlor. Put ourselves out on the mines. Hey, Flint, how are you doing? Oh, that's. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. How are you tonight, Flint? And of course, let's share out in the Cross Comics Discord. But did not do that. Shift AV. Everyone. Send now. Okay, so it is all shared out. We are just waiting for the one, the only. Let's put the thumbnail behind us. Chris Tamulevich. Okay, I can almost make a fist again. What did you do to your fist not to be able to make a fist? Or your hand not to make a fist? You can't see the image. There's the image. So hopefully he will be here very soon. I actually, a while back, did a, as you might remember, I did a speed, well, I drew it up and sped it up for a speed drawing, time-lapse drawing of me drawing his character, Cyclopian. Awaiting we are, hot of the dare wheel, awaiting we are. So it's, how's everybody's week been going? And only 2 more days to find out what the special day is for Thursday, eh, Flint? Was checking whose connections and didn't see that wasps had made a nest inside one of the boxes. And well, Bob, your uncle. Ooh. Well, that's gotta hurt. A few wasp stings. Did that happen yesterday or after Sunday? Or did that happen before Sunday? So, for those that don't know, this Chris guy, I've been on. He's got a channel here on YouTube that I've been on a few times myself. A few weeks ago, he's Christian himself. These are not necessarily Christian comics. But a few weeks ago, he was doing something on a Monday called what he calls God Chat, and he featured me, and I found out thanks to Lorenzo. So, actually, been on his channel a few times in the chat, and actually on the panel before Sunday. So hopefully he gets here fairly soon. It was like a tiny man unloaded 3,000 rounds from a tiny machine gun into my hand. Ooh, yeah, I guess so. Did you get stung a lot or just a few times? Or do you know how many times you actually got stung? Well, there we go. We should have Chris here. Hey! Chris.
Hello.
How are you?
All right, I'm trying to get the camera working here.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I am doing good. You know, I mean, let people see you now.
Miss Diane is sitting here with me.
Okay.
Hi.
Hello.
Let's see if we can get this organizer. I think it's starting to stand properly. So how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Okay, so is it showing? Are you showing yourself or not? Oh, there we go.
You look huge. I'm like a monster.
You are a monster.
And for those that do not know, Diane is his wife. She helps out in the background on his, well, not doing backgrounds, but.
Yeah, I don't know.
She is the power behind the business side.
I don't know about that.
You are. Who just got us all the legal stuff done? It wasn't me.
Well, that's true.
You need to squeeze over because I'm totally sucking up the camera.
No, I'm good.
You're eye candy, baby.
I got like one
scary
eye
looking.
in. I look like Cyclopian, one eye.
Oh, that's cute. Yeah. So what do we do on your show?
Oh, depends. It's never the same twice.
Great.
Oh, my camera just slid too, didn't it?
Uh-huh. It's okay though. It still works.
So we're working towards Cyclopian 2 actually, while funding Cyclopian 1.
Yeah.
And it appears we're going to have to make a cluster fudge sequel no matter what I want to do about it. I was thinking about letting that fade away, but that's not going to happen.
Nope.
It became too popular?
There's just too many people wanting to know how it ends. And it is going to have a much lighter ending than the beginning, but I'm like, I wasn't going to actually do that unless there were enough requests, and there's too many requests now. Now I'm like, okay, I guess I'm Guess I'm stuck with this.
Yeah.
Gonna have to do it.
You are going to have to do it.
Yeah. Which is okay. I like the art style, but we're gonna have to change the tone, you know?
Yeah. A couple Mighty Geeks here in the chat.
Terry!
Hi, Terry.
And one of my regulars, Flip Amaranth. I'm not sure how to pronounce his. I wouldn't say his. I'm not sure whether it's his last name or not. But the last part of the name on which he goes by, and he's like, "Oh, he showed up. I won't roast him too hard, I guess."
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it was funny. We were eating, and I look up, and it's like 6:59, and Diana's going, "I haven't seen a message from him." And I look down, and there's the link, and I'm like, "Oh, I got to get over to the computer."
Quick, finish up.
Yep. Yeah, so I just engulfed like a huge cheeseburger and a bunch of tater tots, and
Yep.
it was
Yeah.
quite tasty. But now I'm ready to go.
Oh, that's good. Well, sorry to rush you. Yeah. Unfortunately, I gave the link to you and not your wife.
I know. Should I not be here? Should
Oh
I
no,
leave?
no! It's all right.
Is
It's
this
all right.
like a guy thing? I'm not even in the picture. Is this just for men only? It's okay. I can go.
No. We've had women creators on here before.
All right. Wow.
So
So this is cool. You use Google Meet to put this together.
yeah. Well, Google
Nice.
Meet's free to use, right? So
Yeah.
and then I just use my OBS.
Yep.
That's very smart.
That way I don't have to pay out any money.
I know.
Yeah, we've been using StreamYard, but I think we're about to drop it because
We are.
the biggest part of it was being able to stream to 3 sources, but it doesn't really help our viewership.
Yeah. Well,
like, I can-
if you want to stream to more than one source, you get OBS to go to Restream, and that'll do Facebook, YouTube, and
Ah,
it'll do 4.
really?
And you can pay, and if you pay for it, you can even get more than 4. It to go to 4.
Right.
But we don't need more than 4.
We don't even need the 3.
You only stream to YouTube and
Facebook,
and
but I do
right?
yeah, but I do multiple pages on Facebook and 1 page on YouTube. So yeah, I could still do that using OBS.
Yeah.
That's how I'm running my camera. I'm running it through my iPhone into OBS,
Yeah.
and then use virtual cam to put me up on the screen.
Yeah. Same here.
Yeah. So we're pretty common in that sense.
Yeah.
You and me, we have that in common. I'm actually trying to see my icons because my camera covers up my dock. Totally bad setup in that term. I got a new Mac, about a month ago, and I'm still getting used to it. So my old iMac, I didn't have any of these little issues. Here we go. I'll put on.
Mighty Geek says the show is chaos incarnate. And he says, Fens don't let Fens use StreamYard.
Yeah, but it's convenient, but it's very limited. It's kind of like using Microsoft Works, not Word, but Works, the old fake word processor they used to have. You remember that one?
Yeah, I liked Works actually, but
yeah, but you know what I mean? It didn't have like a lot of those extra features. It was just a down and dirty word processor, and away you went.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like what StreamYard is. You can see the potential, like it does green screen, but it doesn't have a lot of options with it. It's okay for moderating, I guess. I like the back room, but I don't think it's exclusive to StreamYard, you know?
Yeah. Well, the good thing is with Hero 2, you have to let somebody in,
Yep.
And then, but it's for each session, but, like if you, I'm pretty sure I could kick you out and you couldn't get back in unless I let you in. But if you had to leave for some reason, you could just pop back in.
Yeah, I think you'd actually have to ban the person after they got in the first time.
Yeah.
Although I work in education, I can tell you sometimes it'll glitch out and they have to actually still get invited back. Like kids that are actually in a class will sometimes get bounced.
Yeah.
And you won't let them back in. And so I'll get a call from a parent and I have to, go in and actually re-invite them to the class like they were a new user.
Lovely.
So Google's funny. They have some funny things about it, but it's good. I mean, I don't complain
What are
that
you
much.
planning to switch to if you drop StreamYard?
Well, we could just do it ourselves and just stream right into the services.
That's true.
All StreamYard is a hub that issues it out. You know, it
Yeah.
takes our signal and says, okay, we'll split it to 3 different sections. And
Yeah. And if you, like I said, if you use Restream, which is free, you can do 4. Not
yeah,
that you
I'll
necessarily.
download that tonight.
You don't even have to download it. It's just in the browser.
Oh, is it?
Really?
I didn't know that.
Restream.io.
Okay.
Yeah, so and you've just got to make sure that you have all the things lined up in OBS and hit together properly.
Yep. Yeah, OBS is kind of cool because the way you stack the features and stuff, and
Yeah.
like the way I do my green screen, you probably do the same thing. It's like in the filters and stuff, you add the little plugins and whatnot, and
Yeah.
it's so cool. I did it actually for a public media event, and it worked out really nice. It's almost like, well, it is a mobile studio on your computer,
Yeah.
So I'm looking off to the side because I'm drawing while we talk.
Yeah. No problem. No problem. Well, I'm trying to let people see your face, so I put myself.
So that's bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll show you a little bit. I'm in my little office studio.
Yeah.
And that's the iPad that I'm effectively drawing on while talking to you.
Cool.
And this is the prettiest thing in my room.
He's so funny.
Yeah. But that's my little setup, so it's kind of cool. I have the drawing board there, and usually when we do our own shows, I'm pretty much doing the same thing as much as I can.
Yeah.
On the side.
My setup fairly similar. I've got like I think a 40-inch monitor TV, which I use as a monitor right in front of me. I've got a laptop right beside me, so as well.
Yep. I love multiple screens. They're awesome.
I guess so Money Geek said this show is chaos incarnate. But yeah.
So Mighty Geek is a comic artist too, right?
Oh yeah, I've known him for.
Okay.
He's been a subscriber of my YouTube channel almost since the beginning.
Nice.
Which was about like 3 years ago.
That's
2018.
awesome.
It's almost like we're getting to know a bunch of creators, like all the creators are starting to figure out where we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long have you been doing it?
YouTube since 2018, I think.
No, I mean I meant your comics. So how long have you been
my comics I've been doing since about 30 years.
So like you started when you were a kid, right?
Yeah, young kid, early teens. I started working on stuff. It was just like 2 years ago, a year and a half ago now that I actually finally got my first comic out. So
very cool. Yeah, we're pretty much in line with that too.
But I have a whole universe, as I think your wife has found out by going to my website, and maybe you.
Yeah. Yes, I did check you out.
Yep.
I did look at the website, and you have a ton of characters and a ton of stuff.
And guess what? That's not even close to all. That's maybe half, a quarter.
Wow. That's awesome.
I've got like stuff, some sort of stuff planned for like 5 years worth of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've got major events that are going to happen every year, but I don't know the minor stuff that's going to happen in every issue. But I've got about a year and a half planned out with a basic, like who different characters are supposed to fight in each issue. Mm-hmm. But you know what? This isn't supposed to be about me. This is supposed to be about Chris and
brother. You will find we always try to, even when the spotlight is supposed to be on us, we always try to shine it to everybody. That's just kind of our nature.
in just talking that happens. Yeah, but I just want to make sure
just to kind of match you there to show you what we've been up to. I made comics as a teenager, and I got a rejection letter from John Romita Sr. and quit the business because I thought he was telling me I sucked. I went into graphic arts, and back in 2018, I got some Marvel comics. I was not pleased with the quality of them, and I said I can do this too. And so I started drawing, and since 2019, which is probably right around the time you were starting with your new stuff, we started putting out Hero Shack Sandbox, which was me making horrible. Well, they weren't horrible; they were decent for what they were.
Yeah.
But compared to what we're doing now, you could see all the mistakes, all the beginner stuff,
Yeah.
And it's been an evolution, and I think I've seen the same with your stuff. Your stuff is like improved every time you put something out. You just get a little bit sharper, a little bit, a little bit more. What's the word I'm thinking of? Professional is the word, but it's not what I mean. I mean something more robust. Yeah. Professional is just like that level, but with the creativity, you know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Yeah.
It's bigger than professionalism, to me at least.
You are becoming one with your art.
Yeah. Well, with my next book, I'm not actually drawing it so much. I'm coloring it, but which I think is making a great difference. Flint says Rick has more OCs than Nintendo has Pokemon.
Well, we're bringing in an artist to work on the Kidclopian series that we want to do on the side, which will be Cyclopian's Chronicles of his youth, which means I'll probably write that. Well, I'll definitely write it. I don't know if I'll color it or if the artist plans on doing the colors herself. It's going to be digital like the way I do it. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's just as easy for me to draw her and add the colors because sometimes the color will define like the face. Oh, you're muted, I think. I can't hear him. Can you?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm like, oh no, we lost him.
No. My mom came in my room and she's wondering what's going on, and I'm like, she sometimes does that when I'm on a stream, wondering whose stream I'm on or whatever.
It's like, who is he talking to? I need to check on him. That's a good mom. I do the same thing.
Yeah, but you usually throw stuff at me.
I do not.
Yeah, you're really mean. Frying pans.
Larissa, our daughter, when she does like a video game, and she's talking, I'm like, who are you talking to? She goes, oh my God, Mom. I'm 29. Leave me alone.
I do that too. I'm like, what man are you discussing that with?
Yeah. Well, my mom does it more so she can go and watch. I think after I subscribed and got on your channel a couple times or once or whatever, she ends up subscribing to your channel too. It's like,
that's great.
That's awesome.
Hey, speaking of subscription, this has nothing to do with it, but I want to just segue. Did you see that I started a 7-day shill?
No.
So for the next 7 days on Twitter, I'm going to post 30-second updates on how the campaign's doing until we finish up the funding. Mm-hmm. We're down to $134, I think it is.
Yeah, I saw you went up when I brought it up, which we'll bring up in a few minutes, of course, when we go over the campaign and all that.
I was wicked excited, though, because I was like, I put up this video, and it was this morning. It was just like I grabbed my phone and I went, hey, how you doing? Don't forget, and one of the guys came through and backed it right away, and I was like, oh, this is kind of fun, like.
Yeah.
I think that might be a marketing tip for all us creators. We look for ways to connect with people, but those quick little 30-second videos, it hits hard sometimes. They hear it right away.
Yeah.
That's good because you get to connect with people who you don't normally get to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Well, I guess one question is I think you sort of answered it, but how did you get into comics? What got you the passion?
I was raised, so I started reading comics. This will sound really boring, but I'll make it as short as I can. I started reading comics that were freebies out of the Sunday Funnies, and it was in Lawrence, Mass, and they put them in a comic book form. So I was exposed to all these different comics, all kinds of comics, but the one that always caught me was Spider-Man, which was actually done by Stanley and John Romita. I think they were doing reprints of some of their old strips. And I started copying that, like almost tracing it. I couldn't trace, but I was like, everything they did, I did. And then as I grew up, I started making characters, representing my friends. And we had a comic book that I made probably 3 or 4 issues of. But he's
How
got,
old were you?
well, it started when I was about 9, and it went all the way up until the last issue I drew was probably when I was 16. So there were quite a few. And I was determined to go Marvel DC, but I couldn't get in because, frankly, I needed some training. I needed some time, and I didn't know, It's, hey, look, I'm great. Everybody says so. Sign me.
Very young.
Yep, very young. So then I spent 15 years doing graphic arts, which is great for a lot of other related stuff. But when I read those comics, basically it was Captain Marvel, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Iceman, and they came in a 3-pack, and it was all the worst issues you can imagine. So I was like, oh, what happened to everybody I loved in Marvel? Like, Marvel is really different now. And I started looking into it, and I found I loved the old ones and not so much the new ones. So I started thinking, well, I can do this. I can create, some of my old characters can come back and create some new ones. And the fire got reignited. That same fire I had before John Romita Sr. killed me. It was back. But I don't blame him. That was just me. I have Asperger's, and it was undiagnosed. And I had no way to understand what he was saying. In my head, it was like, he hit me, so I have to quit.
Very black and white thinking. All or nothing. But I do remember, if I can add my 2 cents, for many years we had a ministry called happyjesusday.com, and we actually ministered to people online through God Chat. We were trying to put out some Christian-based comics when our kids were younger. And I still have all those drawings, by the way. And we had a variety of different things he was working on. But it never panned out. I just don't think you were ready. You just didn't have the passion that
the
you
fire
needed.
didn't come back yet,
It was really, it was interesting because I remember, we're going to do this and we're going to do this. And you had all these great storylines, but that was back in, I want to say 2014, 2015, maybe
even earlier. But yeah, when you go out and you try to start that old car, but it needs a little tune up and it doesn't start right away, and it's ching, 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 ching. Well, that's what this was.
It wasn't working.
I wasn't ready. But yeah, once the fire came back, like, now I don't stop.
No, I think those are, I remember you buying the comic books, and I remember you reading them, and you were so upset. Oh my gosh.
So it was Iceman and Jean Grey and her turning him gay or saying he was gay, and
I agree. Her turning him gay.
And the Captain Marvel book was one of the ones where she basically beat up a bunch of aliens and then did a selfie with a bunch of fans and then did an interview, and I was like, this is boring. And the Guardians of the Galaxy was nothing like the Guardians of the Galaxy. I was like, okay, they've always been a strange book, but Ghost Rider was in there with like a fishbowl on his head, and I'm like, what? I was like, after Iceman and Captain Marvel, I was like, okay, whatever this is, I'm not getting involved. I hope they have a good comic, but
yeah, that's when he started.
So I started buying indies too, and that's really how I got into what we're doing now. Because there's a book, Pyramid Nights, made by Gary Henderson out in Massachusetts, and he kind of inspired me because he's very very indie based, and I was like, wow, he's doing it, I can do it. It's all right there. If you just plan your books and don't get stupid, you'll be able to fulfill and get them out. We've all seen the crowdfunding that fails and the people who promise too much and get caught up, but I know you know how to get a book out. It's not easy, but it's not that hard either.
Yeah. But you have to, for lack of a better way of saying it, pound the pavement a lot, get out there, contact people, try and get on shows, unless you've got a huge audience yourself, Yeah,
if you can cultivate that or come into it with it, that's great. Well, I've been doing it for 2 years, and I only have like 299 followers on Twitter. So I'm like, okay, I'm not very personable, apparently. And so now we're trying to get out on shows. This is, I think, the 3rd different show we've been on.
Yeah.
4th. Are you counting Lorenzo?
No, actually, it's the 5th.
Okay, because Lorenzo doesn't really count. That's more like our second
What
home.
do you mean? He doesn't
Well, we
count? He
live on
does
Lorenzo's
count.
show every Thursday, so
Not every Thursday, but we have
just
gone a
about.
couple
Yeah,
times.
I try to go every
You
Thursday.
go more than I do because I honestly.
So this is our first time with you,
Yeah,
but you've seen we do basically the same thing you do. We just hang out, we chat, and
yeah.
um,
Well, usually on a Tuesday night, I'm drawing up one of my characters. The weekly draw, I'm calling it now.
Yeah.
You know, I was up until about a month and a half ago. I was actually doing 5 days a week at noon for about 2 hours, and then I was doing at like 10 o'clock at night for 2 hours as well.
Right. So different times. That's a good.
I should start doing some of that too. I mean, I've got the setup, but you know what happens to me, and I don't know if you do this too. A lot of times I get to drawing and I put on music on YouTube or something, and it's like I can't stream this because it's copywritten, and I'm in a groove and I don't want to stop. Like,
Yeah.
Because when you stream, you almost have to divert some attention to the stream, or else you're just, it's just not right.
Well, if you can get your wife there talking with you, and you just have her read the chat strictly while you draw, and if, there's a question to you, she says it and you answer it.
That might work.
True, actually. That might be a good idea.
Because, like, we've talked about hosting, like, multiple artists and stuff and getting, like, a draw session.
Yeah.
And it's just hard to get people to do it,
I'm not sure whether you've heard of the artist David Finch.
Sounds familiar.
It does sound familiar.
He's a Marvel DC artist, but he has a draw every Monday night. And I think he does the exact same way, him and his wife. And he draws and she just reads the chat for him most of the time.
It would be cool to have other people too, like.
Yeah.
So I envisioned, you know how like when we do a big StreamYard and there's multiple windows and you can make one big and then switch over and stuff.
Yeah.
My son wants to do one with me. Terry, if he's still here, has mentioned doing it before.
Yeah.
I don't know. You might even be willing to. Like we could just start creating comic art. I know there's other shows that do it, but they're not us.
I used to have it quite a bit too myself, where I'd be drawing, somebody else would be drawing, or just other people would come on and talk. I've always usually kept my chat, made sure I was reading my chat. But a few people have come on and read my chat, but I make sure my chat's somewhere where I can easily read. Yeah,
right. Yeah. Chats are important. They're I tend to forget they're there, and she has to remind me. And it's not because I don't like chat.
Yeah.
But the video thing, talking to a microphone and being on a camera, really blows my mind sometimes. I'm like consumed by, you have to be.
Well, sometimes you probably get too focused on your artwork.
Yeah.
I've had that where, especially when I'm digitally coloring, I get focused on that. And my chats now, it used to be where it'd be right beside, but now it's on my laptop, which is, it's beside, but it's off to the side. Yeah. I'm not sure how much you can see here. Like, there's me, there's my monitor, right? And there's my laptop.
Oh, yeah.
So, it used to be I'd be looking at my screen or whatever, or looking at my tabletop, and I just have to glance up. But now I have to glance over to the side, which is a little harder.
So, when you color, are you doing it digitally?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. What program do you use?
Clip Studio.
Cool. I'm using Procreate. I've got the iOS version downloaded on my iPad for Clip Studio, but I haven't been able to get into it.
Huh.
And it's probably because it's iOS,
Yeah. And one of my guys here says, Flit, actually, says, what's Chris' opinions on manga crushing Western comics in sales and popularity? What does he see the future of Western comics, if there is one?
Oh, well, it'll bounce back. It's just how hard. And I think manga is a great way to know that there's still a viable market out there. There are still people who want to read adventures, and they still want to have excitement. The thing is, manga is willing to give you a lot more content for more bang for your buck. And I don't think that they've lost the ability to have fun in their books, where a lot of the Western books are too propaganda oriented and too Everybody's trying to write, either the next Netflix hit or they're trying to make a social statement. And
Yeah.
when you do that and you lose the fun, then what good is it? Like that's what's missing in the modern comics, I think. I used to have fun when I read the books in the 80s and 90s, and now it's like, oh, I got to go through this and feel bad because they're making me think about that, and is that even true? And you have to go through all these steps when you're reading a modern comic. Well, from the big two at least, maybe even Image. I don't know. I don't do a lot of Image, but that's why I do indies now, because indies are straight up closer to the comic books that I used to love when I was younger. So it's like, my opinion of manga, it's awesome. I need to expose myself to more of it because it is a huge market.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it also speaks that Western comics will rise again. It's probably going to be on the backs of new heroes. Whether that's somebody like Ethan Van Sciver's Cyberfrog, or maybe Spawn comes up and rises again, or maybe it'll be somebody totally new. But somebody, yeah, there you go, bro. You know what I'm saying, though? It's gonna be one of us. One of us is going to come up with the next Spider-Man or the next Superman, and that'll be where it really raises from.
Yeah. Well, that's my thing. I've never. Yeah, in some ways I wanted to do DC and Marvel, but I've never at the same time I've never really wanted to, because I got the bug for my own comic books early on. It's been most of my thing, and it's like I want to do cross comics, get it out there. I want it to be the big three. I want cross comics to be the household name.
Yep.
There you go. That's good.
Yeah, I don't know. We like just LCC'd our company, so it's like Hero Shack Press now, or Publications. Press. And it's weird because now it's kind of more legit. Like now that there's an LLC at the end of it, it's like, oh shoot, now we're not in the same arena as Marvel and DC, but we're kind of like in the same neighborhood now, where I'm like, okay, we have to start thinking legalities, taxes, all this fun stuff. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh boy, honey, what are we doing?
You wanted a company. You got it.
Yeah, I got it.
Now we got to make it work. So we're working full time at it.
Right. Well, and the Cyclopian book it didn't fund first day or anything dramatic like that, but I'm confident it will fund because everything we've done so far has.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's always taken the full 30 days to get it too.
Well, I guess there's the question itself. I know you did. I think a book called Cluster Fudge beforehand. Have you done any other crowdfunding or whatever before this?
Yeah, we did a couple of the Hero Shack. We did a couple of the Hero Shack books that way. So the first year I did stuff, I called it Hero Shack Sandbox, and it was me kind of shuffling things around and learning how to make comics. The second year I did Hero Shack in Search of Heroes, which was a 4 issues, just chronicling Cyclopian with a couple of other characters doing things. Then we did Last of the Reapers, which was it was actually a Halloween book, and I did it because have you ever heard of Vic King?
Yeah, I've heard the name.
Artist. We were in an argument like in July or something, and we made a little friendly wager that I would have more success on Halloween with my book than he would with his. And of course, I don't think he had a book out. In Halloween, I did. So that was kind of funny. There was that. And then Cluster Fudge came. And Cluster Fudge was more or less walking into a crazy art style that I used to do when I was a kid.
Explain you wanted to do this mature book because the people that you were talking to.
Well, the crowd I was dealing with was a very mature crowd. So I wanted to show
comics.
them.
They themselves I don't think they're very mature.
Their comic books were very mature.
But the comic books.
So I wanted to show them in a way that I could do mature comics as well. And really what I created, I think, is a off-color, very dark kind of deconstruction of a hero. But I was surprised that readers thought so too. That's why I have to do the sequel, because I've heard from people and they're like, okay, so how's the story end? You can't leave it there. And it's always been planned to have a second issue, but I thought it wasn't going to sell. So I thought, okay, if the product doesn't sell, you don't do a sequel of it, right? You just.
But it did.
It funded, and then it went above and beyond it. So, okay, here we go. I'll do a second one, and But Cyclopian is going to be our main gig. It's going to be an ongoing series. After issue 2 is finished, which should be in the next week or two, as far as all the, the working on it and painting and coloring and drawing.
Yeah.
Then I'll start working on Cluster Fudge 2, so that can be in the can for Halloween. That's when I'll aim to release that. And then I can start Cyclopian 3 and have that one out for Christmas.
Cool. I wish I could get my artist to work that fast, but then again, I've got to save up to pay him anyway, so.
Well, that's the one good thing about doing it all yourself, and I know you've done some work all yourself too.
Yeah.
But when it's all you just burn that midnight oil if you want it. It's like.
Yeah.
And then the only thing is quality control. My biggest thing now is getting consistency and quality out of every panel. And when I go back and I look at things, I see a lot of things I don't like, but when I'm creating it, it's awesome. So it's just learning how to look at something constructively and go, okay, I can do that panel better. Let's redo that.
And you've been doing that.
Yeah, I've been doing it, but I think it's an acquired thing. Like, you have to go through the experience of it several times. And
you're pacing yourself now.
And I don't know about you, but it breaks my heart when I do a whole page and I look at it and I go, nope, I got to start over again. This layout is all wrong. I got to do it all. It's like, oh, God.
I hate that. But,
it's just my thumbnails don't fit enough.
I've realized that, I'm not the best artist. I'm not the worst artist. So it's like, okay, maybe to get some more sales, let's up the artist. I've gotten a real good deal on the guy who's doing it. So as much as he's slower than I would like, it's got some advantages. Like I said, I have to save up to pay him, so that's an advantage.
Yeah, Kid Clopian, we're going to be paying top dollar for that art, and so it will slow down the production. Like, we'll have many issues of Cyclopian before we finally get that Kid Clopian done. Yeah. But it will be done, and then we'll see how well I can work with another artist. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
I have to control myself and because like, you're very patient. I'm kind of not that patient when I'm working with people, and that's why I don't do it often, because I'm like a jerk.
Yeah, well, most of the stuff he's starting out pretty good. Yeah, there's some minor tweaks that maybe I'll tell him, okay, you need to correct this, and this, and some of it he corrects this, some of it he doesn't, and it's like, okay, I'm not gonna deal with it too much. I'm also not, like I said, I got a real good deal, so I'm not complaining too much. I go afterwards and digitally, okay, let's tweak this, tweak that, just so it's right. Sometimes it's usually just costume stuff. Like, he hasn't got the costume quite right for the Canadian Shield and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, there's a little bit of a size, I think the size wrong, like, Canadian Shield's
so
the Canadian Shield's 8 foot tall, So usually, sometimes I think he's got the height a little too close, for whoever he's up against. So it's just, okay, grab the
that
Canadian
can be
Shield.
A really tough thing. The proportions. So in Cyclopian 2, I have him fight this huge octopus who's like 400 feet big. It's like a sea serpent octopus, right?
Yeah.
The hardest part about doing that battle scene was keeping everything consistent, so the octopus doesn't change from being huge to sort of huge to big to huge again. You know what I mean? It's like, that can be hard. That can be really hard. 8 foot tall too. Mm-hmm. Is he in the NBA by chance?
No. He's a Native American from the early 1800s who gets transported through time to our present.
Cool.
So he has really no idea of society. He's actually from my town in the past, but so he doesn't get transported to the Hamilton here and now. God transports him like way out in the middle of nowhere near civilization.
That's awesome.
Because I don't want him to be.
Too overwhelmed.
I've always tried to tie sports into my books, even though it's dumb to do. And the first year that I was making books, I tried to run a character called 55. Oh, it was a nightmare. I thought he'd be so popular. He was a black linebacker. He was muscular, set up after Willie McGinnis, who played for the Patriots for years. And everybody panned him. No matter, I could ask anybody, and they were all like, no, that hero sucks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but he's so cool. And look, he heals and he's doing it. No, I don't like the name. I don't like the look. I'm like,
he's been removed.
yeah, he's no longer in the universe. You know, he just he faded.
Hey, you can keep him in. You just make him a C or D-lister hero.
There you go. That's so funny.
It'd have to be at this point because I couldn't use him anymore. People were just like, oh, look, he got punched into a wall. Yeah, he'll heal in about an hour and be okay. Yeah. So he slumped over all broken, you know. I have a sick sense of humor when it comes to heroes.
Yeah. Well, we got Inkwell in the chat. I'm not sure he's someone I regular, and he says hello to me and you guys. If he's still here. Flit says, do you see it as a problem that American comics, even American indies, seem to have pigeonholed into the superhero genre? In other words, should American comics branch out beyond the superhero and weird fetish genres into bring in new readers?
Yeah, well, one of the things, like, okay, so we need to get a little bit away from superheroes, but we don't need to lose entire touch with it. I think one of the biggest problems is they're not being used right currently. But the biggest part is like the manga. They don't call them superheroes, but they have powers. They have abilities. They're still super characters. It's just the way they're approaching it.
Yeah.
And I think with American comics, we're going to need a fundamental shift in how we approach it, or Western comics, I guess is the way to say it.
Yeah.
But we need a shift in how the whole creative team approaches it so that we can come up with better product to reach. Because obviously there's a hunger, you know, otherwise manga wouldn't be selling.
Yeah. Well, the manga does have superheroes like My Hero Academia.
Yep.
But then, you know, you have stuff like Pokemon or Robotech.
Now, see, people would laugh at me, but I see Robotech and Pokemon in the same genre as comic books, and maybe that's my mistake. But basically, anything that can be drawn and is animated, I put all in the same barrel, unless it's like the cutesy stuff, like the Smurfs. They don't belong in the same thing, but Pokemon make it because there's a lot of adventure. You know, you got to catch them all, and you know the balls are kind of like a Batman utility belt thing. You know, you got to throw the ball. And
yeah, you catch all these different, you know, Pokemon, and you know, different Pokemon for different use. But then, well, actually, maybe that's not even the best thing, because the people themselves don't have powers. They're just controlling creatures that have powers.
Yeah, it's weird. It's almost like it's got that Batman element because of the little utility of the ball, but then they have kind of like, I want to say Doctor Strange, but it's almost like Aquaman, you know, like they're dealing with these little creatures and they talk to him and, you know, okay, Pikachu, use your Thunderbolt. You know, it's like, yeah, it's weird. It's not, but to me though, it's still supernatural, you know, fiction, and it's just cool.
Oh, maybe a better one is I was watching a few a while back. I know it was a knight armored guy. They were like sorcerer type people. I forget.
It's all right.
When it comes to you, you can remember it, right?
Yeah. We got Christopher C here. He says, "Did someone say fetish?" But
yeah, there are a lot of fetish comics. I think in some ways, American comics are in trouble because they all look the same. They all have the same style. Like, it seems like every book is led by a woman these days, and I love women. But, you know, there's a lot of it going on, and I think that the kids that we think we want to reach, that we used to reach as an industry, aren't really into all the stuff that we are. Like, when we draw our commonly comics are made for, like, the 40-year-old comic book collector these days, whereas I think we're missing the point of what the kids want, and manga obviously has at least a finger on the pulse, if not control of it.
Yeah. Well, they're not. They don't got all the politics in. Kids don't care about politics.
Yeah, in politics, no matter how good your point is, it will slow your book down, and it'll rob it of that fun-paced, superhero adventure. Because that's not what we're getting. Not even in MCU anymore. Because they all have the little subtle things that they weave in and out of it. Although Falcon wasn't so subtle.
I didn't see that yet. So
I only watched the first episode, but I saw the scene where he tells off the senator, and I was like, I saw it on YouTube, and I was like, I'm kind of glad I missed that because that's too political for me to want to watch. I'm like, nah.
But you're right; they do have a lot of politics.
Yeah.
There's always a spin on that.
Remember the Shazam movie that just came out a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
Shazam.
That one was a good example, I think. Even though it had issues, it was far less. It felt less politically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't have as much.
It was funny. It
was more frivolous, which is what like a good superhero adventure can be.
Super funny.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as people have said, there's been politics in comics a lot before. It's just keeping it in its place, for lack of a better way of saying it. Not making sure like you're preaching to somebody. It's just like. Myself, I'm trying in my comic when I'm creating my superhero stuff. I want to make it so mainstream people will be willing to pick up this. Yes, God's in it, a fair amount, but I got to make sure I'm not preaching at people. That it doesn't come across preaching to the person. Maybe in the comic itself, somebody's getting preached at, but as long as it doesn't
do the same thing. It's planting seeds where they don't expect it in a way that it's not obvious.
Yeah.
Cyclopian isn't really a Christian book, but there's Christianity in it. For instance, the guy who's training him is Catholic. So in the first issue, he gets dragged to church a couple of times because the guy says that's what Catholics do. And I based that on childhood experiences, like my Catholic buddy Tony. If I was over at his house and there was a mass, his mom would gather all the kids up and we'd all go to mass, even though couldn't understand it. It was in Latin.
Right.
I wasn't Catholic. I couldn't do anything but sit there. But she would drag us all there. We'd have a blast. We'd go play in the back while the service was going on. But I drew from that because that's what I remember of my Catholic neighbors. They always dragged us to mass. I'm Christian, but I'm definitely not Catholic, so it's kind of funny,
Yeah.
And Cyclopian isn't Christian at all yet, but at some point in his walk, he's going to become very aware of the Lord.
Well, that's good. Good. Okay, Flint says, to be fair, a lot of manga is trash, but there's just so much of it, so many genres that practically anyone can find something of interest.
That's true.
But that trash comment, as true as that is, that's almost essential to what the comic book industry has always been. Like, if you look at Marvel and DC over the last 40 years, it wasn't that they were always extremely great comics. It was that they would rise to moments in the storylines that were great. You'd get like 8 issues that were of Spider-Man, but the whole time they're building a story, and then you get to the last 2 issues of the year and boom, it blows up and it's awesome, Now it's like they have too many events. They don't really do anything but make alternative covers and sell. It's just not what it used to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, I'm not, this sounds terrible, but I'm not really a comic book person. Like, I don't.
Well, that's all right.
Here I am trying to get the company up and going. I have no idea, but I'm learning a lot, and I appreciate the artwork. And like it's not that I don't like to read it. The first thing was I didn't know how to read a comic book. I know that sounds crazy, like weird. Like Chris had to show me in order to edit his work. He had to take it step by step and say, okay, listen, you got to start here. Now you see how it's like a Z? You see how it's like this? Now you got to go in this panel. See how but
one good thing about, and I recommend this to everybody else, if you find somebody who doesn't read comics and they read your comic and they're getting lost, that told me I also need to work on where I place the balloons so that they all fall in a place that someone who doesn't know how to read a comic
anybody could pick
can
up a
follow
book
it,
and
right?
enjoy it. And so
There was a lot of learning there.
Yeah. So I've come to enjoy reading Chris's comics, and I picked up a few comics around here and looked at them. I'm looking more now because as the business is underway, more the marketing strategies and how to get our name out there, how to reach people. That's where I've really.
Well, like we've done some Facebook ads and found they're totally ineffectual.
Well, they're only that because I don't have it set up correctly.
Oh yeah, blame yourself. Yes. I blame Facebook.
It's okay, but it's true.
I want to say thank you to Flint for putting that link in the chat, although it is also in the description for anybody. He put the link to your Cyclopian, the Great Cyclopian.
Thank you. Yeah.
Flint has got a run here on my channel, so.
And you guys know, of course, even if you can't back it, it's always very helpful to share and get the word out.
And there's a question too. How did you come up with the character Cyclopian?
Yeah, that's a good
So
story.
Cyclopian actually was a villain when I was doing those comics I was talking about when I was a little kid. And when I came time to make my own comics again as an adult, I had to bring him back. I just love the look of the guy with one eye. He's got no mouth, no ears. So he's naturally got built-in weaknesses. He's a mute, he's deaf, and he has to communicate with sign language and and lip reading. And I just thought that was the most unique character I had ever created. So I decided to put him in with the group book that I was doing. And it seemed that every kid that read it, they liked it, but the one thing they really liked was Cyclopian. Yeah. So
in the beginning, the early days, when we initially went out to Comic Cons with our Hero Shack sandbox, which was a hot mess, but beautifully hot mess, because we had so many characters. We literally printed out every character in the book, and we had kids vote on anybody that came to the table just by looking with your eyes, which one are you attracted to?
Right.
And I started basically taking data on that and narrowing it down. So some of the characters that nobody really were drawn to, and on the back side of it, we had like 55. On the back side of the cards, we literally had what their powers were, kind of who they were, their age.
Like a Marvel Universe little summary.
Yeah, a little summary of each of our characters. So over the first year, it really came down to Cyclopian, Violet Vamp, and the Arctic Blast, which you guys have not seen yet.
Unless you're familiar with our older work.
Yeah, familiar with the older work. So that was pretty exciting. And so Cyclopian was always number one.
Right. And when she says a whole mess load of characters, really it was 9 people. Wow. I had done a Fantastic Four spoof in the book. I had done... Obviously, Cyclopian has a tie to Superman in terms of inspiration. But then we deconstruct that. He's not going to be the Superman clone that everybody thinks. When I first made him as a kid, he could fly. He had eye beams. He was, all the stereotypical stuff that you would expect. And now he's much more limited in his abilities, mostly because who wants an OP, an overpowered character? It becomes so hard to write, and so
that's what you see so many times in the Marvel and the DC. You have these huge superheroes that can take down the world, and I don't know. I just feel like
well, to me, if you had a being that could really lift 10 to 20 tons, that would be amazing. If in real life we had a guy out here lifting up the trash truck for fun, I would be stunned. You wouldn't have to move the moon. I'd be like, dude, that is power. So I want to get some of that back into at least our universe where amazing can be just over the superhuman limit, just a little bit over human limits.
But I think it's more I personally, again, find him to be very relatable as I look at some of the other superheroes Superman and that's so lame. I mean, I always thought he was lame. I'm like,
he's not lame. Superman is awesome.
I'm sorry for all the Superman fans out there.
Well, the thing about Superman is it's a god trying to be human, for lack of a better way of putting it.
Right, exactly.
That's what makes him more interesting. Is his Clark Kent? Yeah, sure, he can do all these wonderful things.
That's true.
stupid, right?
Well,
Superman's
no,
just
he's not stupid, but I just
And he's, Superman is, this guy who's got so much power, and technically he could break you with his pinky finger if he wanted to.
right.
Him learning not to use the power that he has,
Yeah.
and trying to hide it and be alone, and trying not to be alone, because of it,
Right.
There's all that in Superman,
I know.
what you tie on to make them interesting.
See, we got her by the toe now. That we have her. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it.
I'm so sorry. It's not that I actually.
So tell me, what do you think of Batman?
I'm afraid to say anything now. Rick will come on and say, well, Batman is like, it can be all these things. I'm like, whoops, shut me down.
I might be able to come up with something with Batman, but I can't think of anything right this second.
So I have to tell you, on our streams, it's a common event that we tease Diana. We find something that she knows nothing about, and we start
everything you guys talk about.
So that's part of the fun. I love you.
But I'm learning.
Yeah.
And the reason why I wanted to come, Chris says, oh, you got to come on. Because I want to learn more, obviously, if I'm going to make this business a success. Yeah. And not only do I want to support Chris, I want to be able to talk with other people about it and say, I don't know, my husband's the artist, and
Well, she needs to learn more too, because one of the reasons you guys don't see me on shows a lot is because usually I'm drawing and creating nonstop, and that sounds weird to some people. I think you can probably relate to it because you've been in the grind. I don't know what else to do with myself. I sit down and I'm like, where's my pencil? I got to go. I got to get going. I got to move. And
so that leaves all the marketing and everything to me. So I'm trying to market something that I don't really have a great understanding. And I don't want to sound like a complete idiot. I get excited, but he's my husband. So I'm like, I like his stuff. But
yeah, we've had to bring in other readers to help assess stories because she will let me talk her into a bad story.
Being the supportive wife, right?
I'm trying very hard.
Well, and a fan, so it's hard for her. One of the reasons we started talking was because she was attracted to writings I was doing at the time. They weren't comic book related.
He's a very good writer.
But she was attracted to the articles I was writing.
Yeah.
And so,
especially when we were in the ministry, he did a lot of writing,
right?
For the ministry and different stories and stuff like that. So,
but I think when she reads my stuff, when she gets into a part where she finds it difficult, I can sell it, and then it gets by the editor. Whereas, if I was to hire Rick as my editor and I came up with a weird story, you'd be like, dude, it's my job to tell you, no, this isn't flying. No.
Yeah. But I am getting better.
Well, the thing is, she's just going to learn. Yeah, she's trying to be the supportive wife, but to be supportive, she actually has to tell you no.
Yep.
Yes, exactly. And there are times that I put my fist down. I'm like, absolutely not. We are not leaving that in this story. That is the dumbest thing. And then I'll call, we have our daughter who lives with us, and then my other son and whatever.
We start calling in all the adult children.
I start texting the kids, going, all right, you have to control him. He's not.
We need to have an intervention. He wants to
Dad.
use the past tense of the verb and not the present tense of the verb, and I'm mad.
But then again, as she said too, the problem with that is he gets what the comic people want, you might not.
Exactly. So I have people now that I am consulting with, primarily my family members who are, in their 20s and whatever, and they get it. And they can, our daughter who lives with us, she's pretty up on most of the stuff and can say, no, Mom, that's the way it needs to be written. I'm like, but it's not a good English thing.
Well, inside jokes, little quirks and things that the guys say, I often have to explain to her because she just, she's like, what? I don't get it.
Then I'll have my daughter read it. She's like, oh, yeah, I totally get it. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's because that's the style, you have to write. And it's always good to write stuff that make people think. And if they discover something, they go, oh, I get that reference.
Yeah.
It actually draws them into your story more. So Yeah, and it makes your characters more realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you've done a really good job with Cyclopean because I absolutely love him.
Cyclopean.
He is
Cyclopean's heart.
Bug.
He's always
Big
looking to
love
do
bug.
the right thing.
Yeah.
He doesn't like killing. For instance, in his training, he's forced to learn to use a gun, even though he doesn't like guns because they kill too easy. He's like, I don't really want to, and they're like, nope. If you're going to be an agent, you got to learn how to use a gun. So you'll find that he's always got a gun in his back holster, and he will only pull it out as a bluff. He'll never actually kill anybody with it. He's like, no, I won't do that. And he doesn't have to because he's super powered. But it's like one of those regulations of being part of the United Foundation of Order, which is my superhero group in the government thing.
Yeah.
They made him learn to use a gun, so he did, but he won't use it.
Yeah,
I was kind of going after that Batman of old where he didn't kill.
Yeah. Well, Batman still has the thing that he's not supposed to kill. Has he killed? Yeah. Or the question is, has he let somebody die? He hasn't killed them. Just because I'm not killing you doesn't mean I have to save you.
Right.
Yep.
Kaboom.
There was some of that in his first comics. I was watching a special. I haven't actually read the comic myself, but he was one who would be like, the bad guy would get hanging off a bridge and he'd go, well, you don't deserve my help. Ah! And he'd go, oh, gee. Yeah, he's gone.
Well, yeah. Well, it's just like Superman back in the Action Comics. They were one and all that. He was nasty to criminals. I got a digital copy of Action Comics #1, or I'm pretty sure it is, and I've read the Superman stories from back then. He was not as nice as he is today.
Yeah, he was doing things like to landlords that were evil and stuff, and destroying factories that were exploitive, and he would definitely shock you.
He'd grab a guy, throw him up, a few miles into the air.
Yeah.
And just let him fall down and catch him at the last second. And he'd keep doing it till they, agreed to his terms.
That's awesome.
Anyway,
so dude, how long do we do this for? Because I don't want to keep you up all night.
No, I mean, usually I'm doing about 2 hours, but we haven't got. We've asked a few questions. We've been chit chatting. Everybody, I think, has gotten to know you a little bit.
If you have any questions, we're here. We're here for that too. Yeah.
Flit says power creep is definitely a big problem. A lot in power fantasy stories, and then he says she's got to learn. Base chauvinist, Rick Piper, 2021. They're teasing me at this point. Not so much.
Must learn.
I will. I'm trying really hard.
Well, no, see, they're teasing me by me having said that. Me saying I'm a chauvinist and all that. My chat teases me to no end usually. And
at least your cat teases you. Ours, we usually have to throw stuff at. Is anybody out there? Hello.
Well, sometimes I have to do that. Sometimes I don't. Joshua, I'm not sure. Probably don't know who Joshua Hughes is, but another one of my regulars for a long time. He just laughed out loud at what we were saying.
Nice.
So I guess before we go on to it, what are Cyclopean's powers for those?
So he, of course, is developing. He's about 19 years old. They've had limited success in measuring his strength, but right now they estimate he tops out at a bench press of about 14 tons. He recently raced the fastest man in the UFO, who runs a top speed of about 85 miles an hour, and he beat him in the final lap. But the speedster also told him, you wouldn't get me in a longer race because you'd wear down. So basically, he's superhuman.
He's like a sprinter.
He can jump high, but he cannot fly. He is indestructible if he's aware of the attack. His muscles tighten up when he sees something coming, like when you jump and you get tight. When they do that, they tighten up so strongly that they're invincible. It turns them basically,
Skin invincible.
You're right.
That's right.
But he's very vulnerable to attacks from behind or while he's asleep because his muscles are more relaxed and therefore he doesn't have that same indestructibility.
And he can't hear.
Yeah, he can't hear, so that's going to be something I exploit quite often in stories where he's having the battle.
And his head is an eye.
Yes, his head is an eye, but it is protected by muscle. Yes. But if you notice the way I draw the eyelid and it's always shaping, because of that, he has a very good muscle base to protect it. Otherwise, the eye is just a membrane, and it's just as vulnerable as anybody else's. And that's about the extent of his powers. He doesn't have any, ray beams or mental telepathy, both of which he used to have in different incarnations. But I took all that away, and no more flying for him.
Alternate universe versions.
Yes, well, basically, when I wrote him before, when he had all the power, I enjoyed it, but I found that everything was just so bizarre. Like I had to have a nuclear bomb explode in order for him to do something heroic, and absorb the power of the bomb before it killed all the people in Orlando. That's actually in one of the stories.
Way back when.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's your maybe end version of him. Like you said, he's growing slowly in his power. So maybe that's 50 years down the road. Cyclopian.
Right.
Yeah, and it's totally possible because one of the backstories that are involved here is his relationship to the Egyptian god Ra.
Yeah.
Who in my universe wasn't actually a god at all. He was just remembered as a god. He was more of a mutant and an extraterrestrial. But the combination, how do I put this? So that changes a lot of his character, roots him in Earth, and I forgot which point I was going to make.
Well, where does he come from?
Well, he comes from another planet as far as we know. Yeah, that's why I'm getting confused because of the backstory. But he is related to Rod. That's going to come out, and his powers are at that point when he realizes, his heritage, they may increase multifold. But I don't want to make another Dr. Manhattan or even another Superman. So we'll see what we actually do with him there.
Yeah.
He's got a good year of stories before I get that far.
Oh yeah, the thing is, it's making up the villains and all that. It's starting to prepare villains for him. I know for the first 18 issues of the Canadian Shield exactly who he's going up against, and basically what their powers are. Some are going to be that simple and all of that ways for him.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're not powerful, but maybe they're more Batman type oriented, where they're good things. Fighters or whatever,
Well, I have a lot of villains lined up, but I sometimes use them interchangeably because they end up being just the, the meat of the month, the thing, the punching bag of the month, if you will.
Right.
Yeah, the villain of the month.
Yeah, so it's almost like, okay, I've got a main villain and I know what I want to do. How do I exploit this side character to make an interesting story for the next issue? And that's kind of how that happens. I know where his life is going and I have it plotted out, but this issue 2's villain, I had no idea who it was going to be, and then I just decided to make it this woman that I've been thinking about as the villain, and she fits right into the plot, and because she's not actually part of the plot, she becomes like a subplot for the second issue, but not for the overall story arc.
Yeah.
Like the villain of the month thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, most of probably for the first year and a half, it's going to be like a villain of the month for my stuff. It's just that way everybody gets into the characters, the main characters, and that way you get to introduce a whole lot of villains.
Yep.
That
I totally believe that there is something to Stanley and Jack Kirby's method of monthly comics because they spit out a ton of characters, and when you do that, a handful of them are going to be great, and a few more are going to be good, and then you're going to have a whole lot of crappy ones that you can eventually evolve into good. There was a time when Electro first came out, I thought Electro was stupid. Then I thought he became really cool. And now I don't know. I think he's stupid again. But
Yeah, or maybe you have one that's always stupid, like Shocker, you know. But he's a good for, you know, a quick, you know, oh, Shocker's trying to rob a bank, Spidey stops him, you know, it's a quick, you know, 2-page thing.
He's a great sub-level villain, you're right, yeah.
It's just something to use that quick, you know, just to bring along, you know, Spidey's out patrolling, you know, something simple.
Absolutely, man. Yep. And that's what you do in the world.
You gotta have your D and C lister villains, just like you have your B and C lister heroes, you know.
Yep, he's absolutely right. True. Yeah.
So maybe you can bring back 55.
No, if 55 comes back, he'll be selling insurance. There's no way he's coming back.
Well, like I said, if you have him like a D-lister hero, you know, like he's called upon once in a blue moon, or he just got, or he's in some small town that you don't know about.
I could bring him in as like an instructor, like a former agent that's retired. I've thought about something like that, but
well, down the road you may.
But I won't ever bring him back the way I tried to use him.
We have other characters in the Hero Sandbox that I really like.
Well, Cluster Fudge is going to be interesting because at the end of Cluster Fudge, the plan is the girl that's in the first issue eventually becomes Violet Vamp. Now, Violet Vamp was our second most popular character whenever we did these surveys. And the idea is that she looks like a vampire. She markets herself as a vampire, but she's not a vampire at all. She just doesn't want people to know that she's just a super powered person. So she hides her abilities behind fake fangs and tells people, you know, no, I can't do that. I'm a vampire. I can't do that. She uses it as a wall and misdirection, so they don't actually know what the truth about her is. But she's well, she was actually. I always planned on bringing her out through a dramatic story. And when we put Cluster Fudge together, I needed a little girl for the story to make it go forward. And I had planned on using her. Then when I put out Cluster Fudge, I was like, well, it's a little too adult for, you know, Violet Vamp. But now that, like, the worlds are kind of colliding, I'll probably figure out a way to have that stand as her origin and just simply, you know, allude to it or retell it in a very watered down version for, you know, all ages when I bring her into the book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because once Cluster Fudge is done, your books are going to be a little. This book is definitely not.
Yeah, it's not a kid's book.
No.
Whereas Cyclopian is more of a kid's book.
Yeah.
In fact, Cyclopian 2, I have a scene where a bee basically takes over a woman, and I had it where the bee drilled into the woman's eye. And it looks a little hokey, it's a little corny, but because of the way I drew it, my daughter, who's also an artist, yelled at me and told me I can't do body horror. And I'm like, body horror? What is body horror? And she's like, you can't show a bee doing that with blood coming out. So Cyclopian is actually edited to that degree. When the blood was there and everything, she freaked out. So I had to tone it down and still find a way to make it dynamic and adventurous without being body gore. Yeah, is what she called gore. It. Yeah.
But you could have the bee flying through the air.
I could have, yes, and maybe I should have for her sake, because when she saw this bee going into the eye, she was like, "Oh," and I'm like, "What?"
Or through the mouth, or up through the nose.
Even through the nostril, yeah. There were a ton of other things, but I had to send it through the eyeball. You know, I'm like, I don't know why. It's Cyclopian. I guess he's eye-based, you know?
Right.
In fact, it's funny because the squid that he fights is also a single-eyed entity. So
it's so funny. You and your single eyes,
I keep coming up with one-eyed monsters and villains for this guy.
I don't know why. Because you can't see?
No. Now what you really need to do is put him up against a Cyclops.
Yeah, that is ultimately one of the things I want to do. I want to have like a wild Cyclops in Greece, you know, like in Athens or something, and have him go like apprehend it. But yeah, that would be fun. Although a Cyclops has a mouth, so he'd be envious, you know, because that guy can talk and eat properly. And
that's true.
Well, which does lead to Flint in the chat says, does he eat? How does he sustain himself? Photosynthesis or...
So We do know how he eats. I'm not allowed to reveal it at this point.
Nope.
It's actually a major part of the story. So when they recruit the guy who trains Captain, or trains Cyclopian, see the people in the background right now. One of the things that kills one of the candidates, like gets them out of the picture, is they witness him eat on a video presentation, and it's so repulsive that she gets up and leaves. I don't show why it's repulsive, but I can tell you that it's not
just another body horror thing.
It sort of is, but it's not illustrated, and it is not. A lot of people have asked, does his chest open up and eat things like that? No, it's not that at all. And one day I'm sure I will get the go-ahead to reveal it.
He pops out his eye and throws it in through where his eye is.
Hoping to. We're still working on
it. We're gonna release it eventually, but the funny thing is, a few people have asked how he eats, and it seems to be a good position to keep mysterious because people ask that question a lot.
Right.
And when it comes out,
when it comes out, everybody will know how he eats.
It's sort of like Logan and how he became Wolverine and all that, how he lost his memory and all that.
Right.
Keep it a mystery as long as you can.
Exactly. Yeah. I like the fact that nobody really knows, and I love the fact that so many people have said, so Chris, how does he eat?
The problem is somebody does know. I have told one person.
Yep.
And she's like, nope, you're not telling anybody yet. Nope.
You're gonna just sit on it for a little bit.
Yeah, sit on it for 30 years.
There you go. Well, I want people to fall in love with Cyclopian for all the reasons that I've fallen in love with the character. And this is coming from somebody who's not a huge comic book fan, but there's nobody else that I've seen that's out there.
You're not a comic book fan, but she is MCU oriented. She likes the Disney flicks.
I like the MCU. I like, I know.
She's into some pop culture, in other words. She's not a total line.
What do you call me? You have a name?
I call you a normie, but...
A normie. Yeah. I'm Diana the normie. It's so nice to meet all you wonderful people.
Yeah.
But I'm learning. You should see me at a Comic-Con. My eyes are like, oh, did you see him? Oh my gosh, did you see him?
The cosplay, it blows her away.
Fun. But I love these people. I have so much fun.
Yeah. It's amazing. Well, I drag my mom to a lot of this stuff too.
That's
Comic-Cons or whatever. I tried to get her helping me a bit. She doesn't help me quite as much as your wife helps you, but she probably knows a little bit more than your wife knows. Because she actually did grow up reading comic books a little bit herself, but she gets a lot of her stuff mixed up of what happened when.
Yeah,
she read a lot of DC when she was younger.
Mm-hmm.
So have you ever actually attended a convention like as a vendor?
Yeah, two. I went down to LA once for Alpha Omega Con, which is a Christian Comic Con.
Yeah. Nice.
So I took like a 3-day bus trip there and a 3-day bus trip back.
Holy cow. Did you have fun?
We can't get YouTube out there.
Oh. Yeah, that was pretty fun, yeah. And the other one I did was here in Hamilton, Comic-Con, Hamilton Comic-Con. Didn't make any money yet either. But,
we had some dry runs at those too.
But, they were probably about equal in expense for me. The one in LA was cheap to get a table. It was like $50.
Wow!
But I had to spend like $400 to get there and back.
I was going to say,
But the table here was I don't know, a couple $100 or whatever. I forget how much it was for. It's
funny how wildly they'll vary, isn't it? Like some shows are dirt cheap, and others are like, wow, I'm not going to that show.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, it all depends on how big it is, I think, is one of the main things. Like the Christian one. The Christian one that I was at, like I said, it was like in a church, and it was actually a half decent size, I think. It was a small half decent size.
Yeah.
But, I met a few good people there, like, I'm not sure whether you know who Matt Cotton is.
Not yet.
He's a friend of Mike Miller's.
Okay.
I met him there.
Nice.
He bought my my comic digitally first, so from there.
Very cool.
That's the only way I had it, and it was my first version, so it wasn't printed up yet, and it wasn't the artwork that's on the book now. It was my artwork, and it was totally different. So
that's how it starts, right? That's how it starts.
And like when I went to do the other one, went to print it up, I decided to completely redraw it, from beginning to end, and I did it all on stream.
Oh, cool. Mm-hmm. I've never thought of that. That's a cool way to do it.
It creates content, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's the hardest thing with video.
And even if you just record yourself do it, and then edit the video, make it, like a 10-minute time lapse, and you just talk over the time things.
Yep.
Oh,
that way you can record, you can draw it while listening to the music you like. Take that out.
Yeah, you're right. That would work.
Yeah, that is. That's.
I should try that.
You should.
I will.
You will.
Awesome. Let's get on the actual campaign. Let's bring it up here.
Yeah, man.
Okay, we're gonna have to take you guys down.
I'm fine with that. Oh, look at that! We're at $4.52. We're $48 from fulfilling. Holy cow!
No, that's Canadian funds. That's Canadian funds.
Oh, no wonder I'm getting excited. Oh, that's cool. No. But still, we were at 134 away. Yeah. So that's still a good number. I was about to crap my pants. That's awesome.
Please don't.
Well, not while you're sitting here, honey. I'll wait till you leave.
Gee, thanks.
Yeah, because
we have a bathroom.
Oh, I could use that.
Okay, let me take myself out of here too. There.
Yeah, so that's the campaign.
Yeah. Flint says, so now the most important question. Are there any waifus for pinup artists to exploit? I mean, draw?
Not really. There's Dr. Jill in here, but she's not really a waifu. She's a doctor. Like a hot lady, baby.
Oh, no.
Now, in the second issue, the villainess is kind of hot, but I don't know if she'll qualify as waifu. That's going to be up to the audience to decide if she's hot enough. Mm-hmm. I don't think Dr. Jill will meet the level of waifu, though. Well, she's cute, but she's not. Yeah,
this one here, depending on how the person you're talking about.
She's kind of a hottie, especially in the first page. She's got a nice little. This is going to sound wrong. She's got a nice little spread where she's standing there, like looking all cocky. So yeah, she might be waifu-ish. But see, Dr. Jill is in the middle panel there on the bottom. In the lab coat, she's just kind of, she's kind of average.
I thought it was the one in the red here. On the top.
No, the one in the red though, she is, she's curvaceous. Mm-hmm. She's very womanly. I don't have. It was in the background video, but she's the one looking all ladylike. I don't know how to say it without being exploitive. I think she's pretty.
Yeah, she is attractive.
Yeah,
I mean, but I don't know. It depends on what.
Yeah, it depends on what you think attractive is. It's not
one of those books you're gonna open up and say, "Oh my gosh, she's so hot," or "Woo wee," I'm breaking a sweat, or whatever guys say. I don't know.
We don't have any exploitive pictures in this one, right?
Yeah, it's not like that. It's not really.
Oh, let's see. Flint says, laugh out loud. The tricky Canadian scams a Native American once again. Let's see. So we have the Great Cyclopian. When the extraterrestrial pod crash lands in New Hampshire, the U.S. government acts fast, taking the alien infant found within the pod to be raised in a top secret military town known as Icon. It didn't take long for the odd-looking child to start showing signs of superhuman abilities. Now, having graduated from high school, he is being trained to be the next Great Hero for America!
Yeah. And the funniest part is when he discovers that being a hero for America doesn't necessarily mean doing what the government tells you to do.
Yeah.
He's very much his own heart and mind when it comes to saving people. And one of the conflicts he'll have is when the government doesn't put the same amount of value on a person than he does.
Yeah.
But it's going to be adventurous. I've already got it. I'm excited. It's coming.
Mm-hmm.
I keep getting ahead. I can't tell you guys too much, but I want to tell you everything.
Oh, yeah, I know what that's like. It's a balancing act. It's a real big balancing act. You know,
Yeah.
like, I know so much about my universe that obviously everybody else does, and you the same way. And I used to spill everything. Tell everything. And then I got, okay, I can't say so damn much. I got to keep people
suspenseful.
Yeah, you know, like, yeah, I know some stuff that's going to happen 5 years down the road. Maybe I'll tell them the basic idea that's going to happen. Because I don't even know the intricate details yet, you know, myself. But, you know, 5 years down the road is different than, you know, a month from now, and it, you know. But people still they want to be surprised. Some of them, like, yeah. Not all of them.
Right.
But anyways, yeah, jump in with issue 1 on this new series and discover the origin of Peter Maul, the Great Cyclopian. Learn the truth about the fate of the old man in the mountain. Learn the secrets behind America's united foundation of order. Ponder the words of the mysterious Forevertron. All in 40 pages of full colored comic.
Oh my gosh! Yay! Bravo! That was wonderful.
That was fantastic.
Good job.
I think I got to back this book.
I know.
That was actually really cool. So yeah, that is the I guess that would be the pitch.
You have an elevator pitch for it.
Well, the elevator pitch is basically that, just condensed.
Condensed, yes.
And you did mention the old man in the mountain. There's an old thing in the mountains of New Hampshire that used to resemble an old man.
The White
It was
Mountains,
a natural,
yeah. Looked like the old man in the mountain.
right? It was a natural occurrence,
formation.
right? And it collapsed. Then the same
Years
night
ago,
that Cyclopian's pod crash landed in New Hampshire. That's a rundown of his powers and his basic outline. And that appears in the book, so everybody who buys the book will, of course, get a page of that. It's also in the PDF, but every issue will feature at least one of the characters, you know, written down in basics.
Right.
Now you're getting down. Wow, you're going all the way down. The add-ons are kind of interesting.
Yeah, I like to go. I try and go through everything on a campaign. You know,
That's
at
wicked
least
cool.
Skim over it. You know, the comic. I don't necessarily read everything usually, but you know.
Well, you're actually at the add-on spot, so this I can talk to you for a minute about the kind of the coolest thing in my opinion. So we have metal cards. We do that every campaign. We offer those as an add-on. But this time around, because we've had so many relatives and friends who wanted to donate to the project, but they don't even care if they get a copy of the book.
They're not comic book. It's all my family. They don't
right. So we started 2 tiers. One is to buy 3 books and one is to buy 5 books. But instead of shipping the books to the people, we're actually giving those away to kids, and then we're tracking
at the Comic-Con we're attending this summer.
So we're tracking the first names, and then we're going to be able to share with the people who bought the books. Okay, you bought 3 books, and one went to Timmy, one went to Gina, and one went to Scott. Yeah, and that happened at such and such a show, you know?
Right, at the show.
Not too much information because we don't want to track children.
Yeah.
But enough so that people... Go ahead.
I'm just saying that's your $30 pledge and your $50 pledge here.
Yes, sir.
Show.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's really cool.
But they do get a PDF. So the people who buy who back the 30 and the 50, you do get a PDF. One of our family members said that she felt... that we should also, if you're putting $50 down, you should get a book. But the whole point of being able to get the book for $10 each is because we're not shipping it. So
Yeah.
we did say that was the reason we didn't add a book, but you get the PDF. So, and if
Yeah.
you really wanted the book yourself, you could.
Yeah, you can just add the
You
book.
could just add the book, you know, for another $15.
And that the $15, you know, we don't charge for postage. It's included in the price.
Yeah.
And that's been kind of nice because sometimes you get people who are like for something for shipping, and other times you get people who are 6 something, and it varies location to location, and it all kind of averages out. I guess the best way would be to estimate everybody's shipping on the spot, and I think there's a new feature to do that, but I don't know how reliable it is, so we haven't really tried that yet.
So it's easier for us to just include shipping.
Right.
And
Yeah.
include it.
I understand that. Like my first campaign, I did exactly that. I charged, I think it was $20 for the book or 25 with my signature. You know, see.
Very cool.
But I include in both those prices. It was, you know, shipping was included.
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
You know, now on my when I did my coloring book, you know, it was a straight price. There was the price, and then the shipping was extra. You know, depending on where I went. You know.
Right.
You know.
So you're actually in Canada, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
he's in Canada.
Yeah.
You knew that though, right? You knew Rick was from Canada.
Well, yeah, that's why he's driving to
okay,
California.
yeah.
I'm just making sure.
I'm like, you knew that. He's just making sure that we know where you're located.
Well, I didn't think somebody from Florida was making Canadian Shield.
Hey, well, you want to hear something really funny?
Sure.
You know, well, you probably don't. You may or may not know this guy, John Dillard. Dillard Draws. He's making the character. He's making the character the Buckler.
Okay. Yes.
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
I do know
yeah,
him.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I have heard of him.
Yeah. Well, he's a friend of mine, acquaintance, however you want to say it. Whatever we are on YouTube. But we're on shows a lot together. He's on my show a lot together, going on.
Awesome.
In trying to tease me at one point, he created. Everybody was trying to create a sidekick to the Canadian Shield. He created a character called his character the Buckler, who he's now turned into like a villain, and that how is the Buckler is Canadian.
No way, that's so
And
cool.
he lives in LA.
Oh boy.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
LA's a big town for anybody who's not from there, right?
Yeah. Well, he doesn't live in LA. LA's thing. I think it's outside of LA, but he lives in the general area. You know, but it's like, yeah, it's just like, so there is an American doing a Canadian character.
That's awesome.
But then
That is
again,
awesome.
But then again, you got to think about Marvel, an American company, and they did Alpha Flight, right?
Yeah, but wasn't John Byrne? I don't know. I think Byrne is Canadian.
But well, maybe. But what about what's his name? Wolverine's Canadian.
Yep.
The one of the most famous X-Men out there.
Yeah, the artist and creator of Alpha Flight, though, John Byrne, he's one of my lifelong loves and interests, and he's like the best artist in the world to me. But I believe he was born in Britain, but then became a Canadian resident before he was raised. Hi, honey.
Hi.
So
That's the cover.
Yeah, that's the cover.
So I got a question. So I personally, again, probably because I'm a little biased, love the cover. And I would love to see the cover, you know, of the stance that Cyclopian's in is on a t-shirt. What do you think? I mean, what is as a guy, what do you think? Is that like too lame?
I would rather see action. What about you, Rick?
Maybe maybe I'm just trying to think. Well, you have him sitting down there, so it's just a question of whether you'd still want the weight bench behind him or him sitting on something else.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a good point.
Or I could just do another painting a little more detailed.
Yeah. Or you digitally remove the weight bench and put something else in.
True, we could easily.
Mm-hmm.
Although that could make for a great parody one, Cyclopian's Gym or something like that instead of Gold.
Yeah. He could have a gym, but he doesn't have one yet.
Well, maybe it's not Cyclopian's Gym. It's whatever you want to.
Well, it's probably not like Bally's or anything like that, though, because like one of the jokes is he gets in an argument, or they get in an argument with another superhero, and the guy says to him, "Well, at least I can go to lunch without causing a national emergency," because Cyclopean is generally kind of shocking. Like if you saw Cyclopean walk up in real life, he might just freak you out a little bit, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the whole one eye thing might.
Yeah, it might just throw it for a loop.
Or the giant one eye, more accurately.
Yeah.
I know.
And then he can't talk, so that makes it even more awkward. It's like, oh my God.
I love it.
Yeah.
And I know one of the Comic Cons we went to, actually it was Granite State last 2 years ago at Manchester, New Hampshire. There was a gentleman there who did, what are they called?
Well, they were cosplaying huge costumes. He was on the Swamp Thing.
He was a Swamp Thing, and we could see him coming across the whole floor. And I was like, oh my gosh, right? So he stopped at our table because I'm kind of like that person that gets in your face and if I like something.
She's like, come here now.
Come here, I want to look at it. That's so cool. And he saw our Cyclopean pictures, and he's like, dude, that would be the coolest costume to make. No, I'm serious. So he gave me his business card, and that's like one of my own little personal goals for the business, to actually have a Cyclopean suit made for somebody to wear that could go around a Comic-Con with us and just kind of visit tables and hand out business cards. So that's one of my own personal goals I'm really excited about.
Yeah, I'd like to have just something like that too done. Although for Halloween and a couple other events, I've actually dressed up with my character, the Canadian Shield.
That's awesome. I've wanted to dress up as, but I don't.
We don't have the talent to
do that.
Fabricate that.
Oh, mine was nowhere near decent. Let's see. I got these pictures here.
Cool.
Can I can bring them up, right? Here. Give me a second or two here.
No problem. We know the pain of production. Video production especially. It's so weird when something takes a while. You're like, oh, where is it?
Hopefully I have it under my heroes in my Canadian Shield. Let's see, open photo. Let's go over to here. Let's switch. We'll switch. No, we'll just open up a new window capture.
And
photo.
I was going to start singing, but you're almost there, I'm sure. I don't know what it would sing, though. What should I sing?
Photo 2.
I could destroy Amazing Grace. I've always been horrible at that. Ooh!
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that looks cool, dude. Ha Look at that.
That looks awesome. Who made it for you?
Me?
Yeah, I need an outfit, honey.
I know. Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
That really is.
Rick, where'd you have that made?
I just bought a white shirt and then painted on my symbol. That's all. Bought a red mask, red gloves. Just stuff that you got anywhere. The only thing that I had to sort of make was the cape.
You did a fantastic job on that. That looks amazing.
And then the other one that I have, you're
That's
gonna
so
either.
cool.
I did one of my other characters. Let's see where it is. Insectoid. Hey, Lorenzo. It's Leo.
Hi,
Lorenzo. Hey, we almost did that in harmony.
I know, really. Lorenzo.
It's the Sleestakian friend.
Okay.
Now I'm just kind of making noises so there's no silence.
Okay, so let's change this to. Oh no.
That's a lot of artwork.
This is me as one of my other characters, Insecta, on another Halloween.
Very nice.
I love it. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
I think you've been having more fun than we have.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Look at you.
That I bought a wetsuit and painted it gray.
You are awesome.
That was
Oh my
not a
God.
that was not a good idea, but I found out after the fact.
Oh my
I like it
gosh.
nonetheless.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Look at your mask. That's so cool. I
And that-
absolutely love
And
it.
then that's just like that. I bought a full face mask for like in the winter, and I just
Yeah.
cut out the mouth area.
Oh yeah.
But you did a wonderful job on that. Seriously, that is fantastic. You are very talented, my
And
friend.
and just bought like a pair of butterfly wings or whatever,
Yeah.
and spray painted them, for
You
at the
did
costume shop.
Did you have so much fun doing those costumes? I bet you did. I would have.
I had fun in it. This one here, especially because of all the I bought spray paint and I had to buy a lot of spray paint because
I
the
bet.
fabric really absorbed and it was really
Right.
tight to get into.
Yeah.
But so that was a bit of a pain to
It
pay
wasn't
freight.
the most comfortable, right? Costume.
Yeah. But I learned something from it. Now, next time I'm probably just gonna save my money and buy a gray Xeno suit or whatever.
Yeah.
The last thing I dressed up as was Spider-Man, but it was one of those full
I
body
bought it,
socks.
yeah.
Yeah. They just print Spider-Man's costume on it, and you wear it like a whole nylon body thing.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, that's what I want to get, but all gray, and then just put on my symbol or whatever.
Yep, that would work out good. The only problem with the body nylon thing is if you're fat like I am, you look like a pregnant Spider-Man.
Oh, it was so funny.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm fat too, as you saw from the Canadian.
Yeah, but yours
shoe.
seems to be better distributed. I have like a weird belly, and I just
It's a pot belly, like Winnie the Pooh.
I really looked like Spider-Man pregnant.
It was so funny. He put it on. He was trying to do Spider-Man. I was dying.
Yeah, I really need to drop 20 pounds, maybe 30.
Yeah, well, the great thing is, actually, your costume for this Cyclopian costume is probably fairly easy. You basically just got to figure out how to get a Superman costume without the symbol on it, really.
Yep,
Right.
that's the
And
hardest part.
it's really the headpiece. Like I could do everything on that costume. It's the headpiece. We've looked at different, I guess, materials to form the actual eye to make it comfortable for somebody to wear. But it's still way out of my element. I'm too busy trying to figure out.
Maybe paper mache.
Yeah, and there was this other stuff that some of the cosplayers at the convention recommended. I forget the name. I have it written down, but it's like a foam,
Yeah.
and you heat it up, and it will actually shape. And then when it cools, it retains that.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen it. I've got it written down in my notes.
Right.
Because anytime we talk to cosplayers, we're like, Oh my God, how'd you do that?
Yeah. Well, heck, when I was at my one in Hamilton, it was like I said, I didn't make much money. I didn't have a lot of action, but to start, getting, and I thought of this way too late in a lot of ways, but to start getting, some people at my table to stop for a second, I start stopping the cosplayers and see whether I can get a picture of their costume.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's a great way to do it.
And
That's
then And then,
go on.
like I say, watch this. I'm gonna put this all as a video on like YouTube or whatever.
So this one guy I met at the very first convention we bought a table at, he was a producer from Los Angeles, and he was doing independent printing. And he told me that the one thing we were doing that a lot of people don't do is, number one, when you're behind a table, stand up, because if you're sitting down, people are not going to stop as easy, as naturally. And he
Yeah,
goes, then just make eye contact, and when they look at you, say hi and like get them to come over. And that
yeah,
was the biggest thing that I learned the whole time, was just to stand up, and as they're walking by, look them right in the eye.
yeah. Yeah, I learned that too. Unfortunately, standing up for like 10 hours at a time is a little hard.
Oh, it feels, doesn't it? Like I have a terrible back, so I'm like, I'll kind of look and see who's coming down the aisle, and if I don't think they're going to like my stuff, I'm not going to stand up.
Not me. I stand up pretty much the
Yeah.
whole time.
Well,
Yeah, you
yeah.
do. I'm sore.
Yeah.
My back.
Also, especially if anybody comes at my table, I stand up automatically right away. And although I do try and stand up as much as I can, but, I'm usually taking 10, 15-minute breaks if I can.
Oh yeah, I'm down with that.
So, yeah, as you were saying earlier, I think you've got a PDF version for people for $5, which is
Yep.
pretty good. That
Yeah,
way.
that one, a lot of people say you shouldn't include a PDF, but I don't see why not, especially if, somebody's, not loaded with money. That's a great option.
You
And
know,
especially if someone doesn't want to deal with, international
Well, if they
shipping
don't
and
have the money,
waiting. And
too.
yeah.
yeah,
A lot of your international people will probably get that because they don't want to pay for the extraordinary amounts for shipping because
right.
unfortunately once you get outside of your country it becomes really hard to ship anywhere or expensive. It's not too bad for me to ship to the US, and it might not be too bad for you guys to ship to Canada, but anywhere outside of Canada, the U.S., it starts becoming,
Europe can be a challenge.
yeah.
Yeah, it is. We shipped to France a couple of
Books ago.
and it cost
Yeah.
me $30.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
Let's see. I've shipped to Finland. I've shipped to Australia. I've shipped to the UK, the States, obviously. Where have I shipped to anywhere else? Weird. We're not weird, but yeah, I've shipped to a few different. Well, not my book, but I've had some giveaways on my channels, and I've shipped to like Italy.
Wow. Italy's like just as far as France, though, or just about, right?
Yeah.
About the same. Of course, country to country can change how they handle shipping too.
Yeah. And I haven't had really any big bills. I would say I don't think anything's been more than $25. And that's only been a couple. The one big thing that I think I've ever shipped was when I did my Canadian Shield campaign. I printed up a ash can for the buckler, John Dillard's thing. So I print because he helped me a lot on my campaign too. So I ended up printing up extras for those, and I shipped him like 20 extra copies of it.
Ah,
Plus,
that's awesome.
Plus, he had bought my book and all that, so I shipped that all to him too. So
Right.
that cost me like between $30 and $40. So
Right. Well, like we've done what, 4, I think,
Yeah.
crowdfunding, about 4.
1 Indiegogo and 3 Kickstarter so
Okay,
far.
so 4. And shipping can be, pretty expensive. Just shipping prices all over. I don't care where you are. They just seem to keep going up and up and up. But that's why like a PDF is really good, especially
Well,
for
and as a
international.
crowdfunder, every PDF actually helps with the overall profitability of the campaign. So that helps with any extra shipping you might run into. Like it costs nothing for us to send the PDF. So that's a pure $5 positive in the market. And that means that, we have a little bit of extra leeway to go ahead and cover things that are more expensive. And, it also helps with our bling and stuff.
yeah,
True.
Because you always got to put bling in the package, or at least that's what we do.
yeah, I agree. I always try, no matter what, to put something extra or whatever. Like one of my first my Canadian Shield campaign, I had a contest beforehand, fan art version. In other words, people were to create their own version of the Canadian Shield backstory, all that, and then on my channel they voted on. I had my channel vote on whose they thought was the best or whatever, and although it should have been one, in the first round, 2 people tied, and then instead of going to a second round and voting between people, I just said I'd print up both, and everybody got both of those for free. I printed up like a trading card of those, and the prize was, whoever won it got theirs made into a trading card that everybody with the campaign would get. Whoever got a physical tier.
That's awesome. When is your next crowdfunding campaign coming up?
I'm not sure at this point because I want to have pretty much all my stuff done on both the books that I'm going to be putting up for it.
Yeah.
So, I don't want people having to wait a year or two to get their book after I don't even want to say, oh yeah, you're going to get your book next year. No, I want to say, I usually like putting 6 months or whatever from when I start my campaign, and hopefully deliver early. Like my first campaign, the Canadian Shield, I was a couple months late. Not really my fault because I had problems getting the money from Indiegogo. Otherwise, I would have had it in time. But when I did my more recent...
You had that... I'm sorry. You had that issue, right, with the Indiegogo, the exchange system?
Yeah, because of Canadian versus American funds. But when I did my second campaign, which was my coloring book, did Canadian funds, had no problem getting my money, so, which was a lot of what that was about, doing that. But with that, again, I set like a 6-month goal, and I delivered everything was out before that month began. It was supposed to be June this month, and I had everything out before the beginning of June. And probably everybody had it before. Everybody had everything before the beginning of June. Even once mail, maybe a week into, I think at best, or worse. I think you're better to deliver. Yeah, sure, on time is nice, but early is even better.
Oh yeah.
You just got to give yourself enough time, and you don't want it too far from your finishing date, your delivery date, and like even 6 months, in my opinion, is really a lot. Once I get knowing this stuff easier, like being able to get my books easy and all that. Again, I'll probably start moving the date back less than 6 months. Maybe it'll be 4 months, from when I start my campaign.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense, though.
Well, let us know. We'll help promote your campaign.
Yeah, definitely. Too. That's why I asked. I'm like, do you have a campaign coming up?
Right.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't see. I would like to start another one before the end of the year, but somehow I don't think it's going to be till sometime next year.
That's all right though. Take your time, get it right, get it the way you want it.
Yeah, but in the meantime, like I do have a few coloring books still for sale, um,
Mm-hmm.
and I still have my number one for sale off my website, and
I was gonna say it's on your website, right? We
yeah,
can go to your website. Okay.
yeah, and I've also got stuff up on Teespring and Redbubble, shirts and
Mm-hmm.
mugs and all that sort of stuff with the
Cool.
Canadian Shield on or Cross Comics.
That's awesome.
You know,
That's really good. Yeah.
We got to look into doing some shirts soon too,
Mm-hmm.
but mostly because I want to have a shirt that I can wear.
Yeah.
yeah, I've got a Canadian Shield shirt that I wear sometimes around here.
Well, we have some Hero Shack shirts that we made year one, and it's like the first logo. It looks really weird, but
Well, no, it doesn't look weird, but we didn't really have a following, and so that's the thing. It's like we sort of put the cart before the horse. We
Well, the
were
thing is, if you do go to Teespring and create it, yeah, maybe you don't have a following, but at least it's there for when you do get a following.
That's true. That's a really good point. And I do have a Teesprings, but I haven't updated it in so long.
I'll have to talk to my manager about getting this organized.
The manager is slacking again. I'm sorry, I work full time, and and blah, blah,
Well, that's the
blah.
thing. We both work full time, so
Yeah.
it's definitely the secondary
Thing.
position career wise
But
right
it's
now.
okay because that's where we're at.
But we are pushing it to go full time one day. We just don't know if we'll where and when and how it's all going to work.
Right.
Might take a year, might take 10 years. We don't know.
Yeah, and of course you've got the book here too on here for $15, and you said that at least in the states that includes shipping. Outside of the states, it varies how much.
Yeah,
shipping.
I think we did that just in case we have like an Australia book with $56 or something. We can contact the backer at that point and say, "Hey, how did we want to work this?"
I've got a question, and it's up to you, obviously, whether you do it or would there be a way of doing? Since you say the 15 one has it in, for the states, maybe is there a way to do like a 10 plus then the shipping for everywhere else in the world, or and just make the U.S. one the the $15 one U.S.
Well,
and make sure the $10 one doesn't go to the U.S. anywhere but
Yeah, we could actually do something like that. I think we should do that. Like we could probably do that tonight just to make sure it's covered, because we have a whole week to fundraise here. So
yeah.
we should look at that, babe. Business manager.
Well, you are the one that set this one up. Remember, you told me hands off. It's my campaign.
I don't remember that.
You did, yeah.
You're the boss.
Well, it's just an idea. Just because you said the prices include the shipping's included for
I
the
think
U.S.
that's a good idea. I think you're right.
No, he put shipping included everywhere.
Did I?
Yes, you did.
Oh,
yes.
You did? Oh, goody.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Okay.
good then.
Yeah. Here, let me.
Maybe it doesn't say it right.
Or maybe it just says everywhere in the world, but maybe I was assuming stuff, thinking something that we had done before. Let's get you back here. Brave. Okay.
Hey, oh. Hang on. I got to do something to turn on the camera. What did I do to turn it off?
It's right there.
There we go. Yay.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, my camera's dead. That's the old logo that's on the t-shirt.
Hold on, I need to. I'm all fuzzy here now.
Yeah, I see, man. That's crazy. It looks like a black and white TV.
I know, right?
Do you remember those?
Yeah.
You are now watching VHF. Or UHF, I think was the other one.
Yeah, I don't remember.
The one with the multiple channels, that was the one that used to get the worst reception.
Yeah,
Not
UHF.
Yeah, that's the one. In Boston, we used to watch 38 for Creature Double Feature.
Here, let's see. Now that nobody can see me do this.
You look very clear now, though.
Oh yeah, when I go to click to get it, it says $25 plus $25 for shipping for Canada.
For Canada, really? You added shipping for Canada?
I don't know.
Well, no, I don't know how it does it, but
We'll go back and fix that. I'll let you know tomorrow, and then maybe we can just we'll tweet to let other people know too.
yeah, well, yeah, it's just I think I had looked at that before and it was there, and maybe like I said, doing the $10, that doesn't include the shipping, yeah, maybe I'm saving $5, but big whoop, $5 is a lot, right?
That sounds crazy though. The way that's set up, we have to go look at that.
You did it.
Don't blame me.
Don't blame me. Don't you like how you backpedals on
I just
that?
make comics. I don't know what I'm doing.
No, you said I'm going to do the Kickstarter campaign, remember?
I started it, yeah. Well, we've had more luck on Kickstarter than Indiegogo by way of the fact that 3 of our campaigns have been on Kickstarter and 1 on Indiegogo, but Indiegogo was good to us too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So really, it's just a matter of, it's not even preference now. It's just which one do we go for.
I don't know why.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it's trying to do both. I think with it, like I said, with Indiegogo, you could always just, set a $500 goal, make it, what's the name of it? Flexible, and that way you get the money, and make a small print run. Or, include it with the print Kickstarter, whatever you get from Kickstarter.
Right. Hey, while I talk to you, I'm going to look at these things and see what I can do.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not trying to complain too much about the shipping because I get what shipping is. What it is, and
Actually, complaints are awesome. I didn't think you were complaining, though.
It's terrible because it's, it can be really
I didn't even know it was
expensive.
saying that. Like, I don't know why it says what it says.
I don't either. I don't know what your settings are, honey. I haven't touched it.
I don't know what you did to it.
I love it. I don't know what you do.
Yeah.
I haven't done anything to it. That's the funny part.
So, I see what. Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. The award was selected by backers. I can't change that, so I would have to add another. I see. I'd have to create another tier. That's
yeah,
all right.
everywhere other than the U.S., it's adding $25.
But I can. Let's see. What can I do here? I think I can. I should be able to add another reward and make an international version.
Yeah. Because
it's not going to let me edit that because other people have ordered it.
Right.
Yeah.
So
you just have to make sure that one that you're creating is, if you say $10 plus shipping, it's only available to the rest of the world and not to the States.
Right.
Because you don't want somebody from the States ordering the $10 one and getting free shipping on that.
Right.
That makes total sense. You lower the price for the international to help out with the shipping cost, basically, is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, Lorenzo.
Hi, Lorenzo. How you doing there, bud?
Lorenzo.
Oh, yeah, he was here earlier. I forgot to say hi to him. He said fantastic cosplay. That's awesome. Hail, ahoy. Sorry for not saying hi earlier, Lorenzo.
Oops.
Normally I'm better than that.
That's all right. You're awesome.
Okay, I'm working on it right now,
Chris is doing, I don't know what he's doing. He's such a goofball.
I'm creating havoc.
You're creating havoc? You do that naturally. You don't have to work too hard at it, though.
Only certain countries.
Yeah.
So, do they have it anywhere in the world?
I thought they had it I know Indiegogo does.
Well, now I have a whole list of countries.
No, so just
what you want to try and do is anywhere but the U.S. You want to make sure it's anywhere but the U.S. So you want
Right.
everywhere in the world but the U.S.
Right. I don't know if they have that option. Can you
That's
type
what
it
I'm
in?
trying to find right now.
Can you type it in by your, do they give you that? It's so funny. Like learning the Kickstarters is one thing. You should have seen me the first time I tried to set up the Kickstarter for Hero Shack. I was like, oh my God, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It could, like, just keep working at it. You'll figure it out. And I did, and it was fine
Then why is this all messed up?
because you did that one.
Oh,
You put it under your account, honey. I didn't do any of that.
hang on. I have an even better idea.
Okay.
Let's
I'm glad
see.
he's got a good idea.
Is it his first one?
So
He's got a good idea. This is a first for him.
that's not funny.
Thought it was.
So if I went like this,
Uh-huh. You couldn't go in and change the Kickstarter to just put
no,
anywhere in
because
the country?
people have ordered it. They won't let you change it once.
Yeah. Once somebody orders something, you can't change it. That's the same way on.
You can't change the teeth.
Yeah.
Mm.
And Lorenzo says hi to Chris and you, Diane.
Hello.
Lorenzo.
Yeah. So we've been chit-chatting a lot here, just getting to know each other a little bit better and talked a little bit about the campaign and all that.
Yeah. You all learned that I don't know much about comics.
Well, some of them knew that already, that, like Lorenzo.
I know. Oh
and Mighty Geek.
Yeah, Terry, he's like, oh, goodness. Did you figure it out? Do you want your glasses? They're right here. It might help.
No, I think I got it. I'm going to make a Canadian version.
He's so funny. He's got glasses, but he never wears them because he can never find them.
Canadian version. Well, I'm up for a Canadian version.
There you go.
Although I'm probably going to end up grabbing the...
If I don't do a Canadian version, I have to add all these other things. So you, as the representative for Canada, just got me to do this. I don't know if we'll sell one in Canada, but we'll be ready if anybody in Canada wants one.
Well, I'm hoping next Monday to buy the PDF.
Yeah, there you go.
I should. This is Chris T and Diane from Hero Shack. I think somebody blocked me in your DMs. Why, Timothy? Okay. I just... Timothy says, "Hey, it's Chris. What's up, dude? Yeah, I see. So I don't know. I'm sure who would have blocked you. You should know somebody. I think it would tell you if somebody blocked you."
Which system are you talking about?
Oh, Twitter.
Oh. Yeah, Twitter can be weird like that. Maybe they kicked them off automatically.
Yeah, well, so unfortunately, if you have a group of a bunch of people in DMs, and if one person in that group blocks another person, the person that the one person blocked gets kicked out.
Yep, you're right. Hi, honey. Oh, Lord. So now what do we do?
I don't know. Does anybody have in the chat have any questions? I know I've had a good time here. We didn't probably chat as much as I would like. Got into really deep questions. Hopefully, maybe some of the if we get you on John's show, the first question he's gonna ask you is, why should I care about your book? Or why should I care about you? Something to that. It's like
that's a really great question, though. That's a great question.
So
why should they care about the book? You should care about the book because it is a fantastic story. It's written from a very different perspective. I think Chris's stories are outside the box, and if you're looking for something different that's not your typical mainstream stop indie kind of comic, then check them out. That's why I think you should care about it.
You should care about it because if you don't care, this alien will die and perish in cancellation land, and he will have no more life.
And that too. Why are you such a dork? Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Were you able to get in touch with John Dillard? Dillard Draws? On Twitter?
I have not reached out to him. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm in trouble now.
What about I Am Metal? Anybody on that list that I gave you?
Did you mention Indie Princess by any chance from Indie Vault?
Indie Princess and Vault, we did.
No, I gave her a whole bunch of people.
You did, and I love it. You know what my problem is? I don't know how to reach out to them. They don't know who I am. What do I say? Like, hi.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Like you said, you just say, hi, I am something the manager or the PR department for Hero Shack. We have a book on Kickstarter crowdfunding. I was wondering whether we'd be able to come on your show and promote it.
Yeah.
And that's it?
Yeah, something to that effect.
I'm making this such a big mountain, and it's not really a mountain. I've been panicking over, like, how do I, like, hi, I'm Diana, and...
God, you're just going to make the Aspie do all this. I'm the Aspie, by the way.
Well, you know what it is? I'm afraid if they ask me, like, a really tough question, I won't know what to say.
Well, the good news is if you're doing it in DM, you can always just pretend you haven't seen it yet, ask me the answer, and then answer them.
That's a great idea.
Well, the great thing is, Diane, if they ask you a hard question, you have time to answer them. You could go and bug Chris.
I never thought of that. Why didn't I think of that? So, like...
Because when people text you, you think you
this
have
is
to
so,
answer
like,
immediately.
I know,
She's
because
like,
I'm just learning how to tweet, and I'm just... this is all very new to me. I'm so sorry.
she's a boomer. She's a baby boomer.
I'm a boomer, and I'm a newbie.
I got a whole bunch of ones too. I got. I'm talking to Flit here in the chat. He said he had 945 notifications on Minds. Please help. Minds is like Twitter, another platform like that.
I have an account there, but I never got any traction over there.
Yeah, I have over 100 followers there.
Wow.
Now, I think all of them follow me religiously or whatever I want to say.
Right.
But
it's like my YouTube. I have over 2,000 subs, and I know like about 1,400 of them don't even know I still exist.
Yeah.
They were all there when the ministry was going well, you know?
But, yeah, let's see. Who did I all give her to contact? And I even told a couple of these people that you might be contacting them, too.
I haven't contacted you guys. I'm so sorry, but I will. I promise I will. I just don't know. I'm new
So
at this.
should I do it? Should I do
really
it?
new
Are you
at
ready?
this. What?
Rick, you ready? You're fired.
You
now I have to rehire her.
He fires me all the time.
You want a job?
I'd love a job with you.
I'm so lucky she takes it back, ain't I?
Guys, I'll be reaching out tomorrow morning early.
Yeah. Yeah, like...
She's been fired multiple times and always rehired.
I'm the worst. I've got to get
like
better.
who's this? Eric Mietowski, Church of Failure, Mandy Summers, Tink Ferret, Dillet Draws, Metal,
I gotta send you that email.
Matthew Reese, Gary Shipman.
You've got all those names, don't you?
I do have them all. I actually have them in a spreadsheet, and I'm like still formulating how do I
So
contact
how many of
people
those
that
on the
don't know?
spreadsheet does it say first contact check? None? Okay, I'll get...
But I have a box for it.
She has the box for it. We've started.
Although I'm not sure how much because you got 8 days left. There's Booster Kiwi. That would have been better to contact a while ago because you could have had that be go on a Thursday night, and you could have had they do the fan edition, the Ultimate Fan Edition, drawn and quartered Ultimate Fan Edition, and have everybody there draw Cyclopian for the night. Well, promoting.
That would be such a trip.
Oh, Rick, what am I going to do? I'm so bad at
That's
this.
okay. We got more campaigns coming. You'll have to work on this. I got to figure out a lot of ways. I want to make it cheaper. I want to make it faster. I want to try to figure out how to make this a better deal for everybody. So we'll see what we can do. I'll give you plenty of exercise.
I just need to do it because he went out of his way and sent me all these names.
I know.
Literally, remember I said the other night, I've got to send out.
That's okay. Remember when you mentioned the show last night and she's like, I don't remember that. And then you know what her calendar did? It beeped up. Bleep, bleep, bleep. You have a show tomorrow.
On Cross Comics. I'm like, look, I do remember
it. Flint says, rehire her, but as a severely reduced pay.
There you go. I don't get any pay at all.
Okay, so if you don't get any pay, that means you got to start paying him.
Yeah, there's my salary.
No, I do pay him. I cook his meals.
To be totally honest, though, I am probably one of the most spoiled people in the world. When I said I wanted to make comics, she got me everything I asked for. When I said what she got me wasn't good enough, she upgraded it.
I did.
I got a very nice 1117 printer that does full bleeds. And I don't use it enough, but she got it for me because I said I wanted it.
Oh, 11 by 17 printer?
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful, dude.
Yeah.
We make prints on it that we can sell. You can print out saleable quality. You know what I mean? They're that good.
Oh, yeah. I got myself an 11 by 17 scanner. That way I can print, scan in my full comic pages.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's the one thing I'm missing out on because my artwork is all done on an iPad Pro now. It's the 12.9, so it's bigger than your little 10-inch one, but it's not 11.17.
Yeah. Actually, I got it for a really good price at I think it was Staples. I forget what brand it is. I think it was $200, $2.50, and that's Canadian.
Oh wow!
So that means it was even a little cheaper in American, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was more excited when I saw the crowdfunding in Canadian money. That was fun.
It looks higher, but the goal is actually higher too. It's over 600.
Yeah, they would pump it up, right? Yeah. But for a second there, I was like, "Whoa, what happened there?" But I'm sure we're going to make it. Every day we'll pick up, enough every day to get to it, and it's just how it always works.
People that he gave me.
Well, not only that, but we have a couple of people I know that are waiting to see how close we get before they jump in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the same way. When I back a book, I'm always quicker to back a book if it hasn't been funded, number one. And then I look at how big the book is. I usually try to fund the smaller ones. Probably because of where I'm coming from, but I like smaller books too.
Yeah.
There's just something about it because if a book is under like $10,000, that's somebody who really is doing it because they love it. Usually, it's not a money grab or a big. It's because I love making books and I'm going to make a book. Darn it.
Shimizu says it's not the size of the printer, but how you use it. Laugh out loud.
Ah, yes.
That is true.
Yes, and I use mine sparingly.
I know.
But when I do use it, it's beautiful. Except we ran out of ink last print. That was a bummer. That was like, where this metaphor is going, I don't like it, but it quit halfway through and never came back. It lost everything. We need a refill of ink.
I have to order some.
Yeah, and make it Epson because these generics.
I know,
generics. We print like 5 prints, 11/17. It seems to be dead. They give you just enough to tease you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we're starting to fade here.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, brother. I'm looking at my wife and like she's falling asleep.
Oh, that's no problem. It's like 9:23. Normally, I only go about 2 hours, so we're over. Hey, no, that's no problem. Sometimes I go longer, sometimes I go shorter.
Hey, this is fantastic. This is great.
It's it's just it flowed. So if it was just completely dead air, an hour in, I'm like, okay, maybe we should call this quits. But we've been able to keep things going.
So if you're not busy tomorrow night, we do one about 8:30 over on our channel.
Yeah.
Same format. You've been there before, but we'd love to see you there too. We love you, man.
I'll try and be there. Wednesday nights at the moment are hard for me. I go over to my cousin's and help her do some stuff around her apartment.
Good.
It's hard for her to do stuff. She got her legs, but they're a bit messed up. So
yeah. So you go and do a good thing. That's awesome.
And I've been going over there every Wednesday. Yeah, sure. It's only like an hour or half an hour worth of stuff, maybe an hour worth of stuff that I got to do, and I walk over there, which takes an hour there, an hour back, and then there's always there's always the chit chatting and all that.
Yep.
So
well, we know that we were thinking about you, but that's great that you do that.
Yeah. Yeah, and unfortunately, I started doing that just about the same time I found out about you guys. It's like, oh, great, really?
No, that's all right.
Yeah. Well, we may end up moving it someday soon anyways, because didn't somebody move into our night?
I don't know.
I think Trash Compactor is doing Wednesday nights now.
You know what? Don't worry about that. Do your show when you want to do it, because there's always going to be somebody in your time slot.
You're right.
Exactly.
Well, we moved to 8:30, and I thought that was a good idea because I figure if a stream starts at 8 and it's really boring and not going anywhere, at 8:30 people are going to start looking around for a new stream, and I'm like, we could just start at 8:30 on Wednesday nights.
Yeah. And I will reach out to the list of names you gave me. I will do it by tomorrow. Whether it matters or not for this campaign, I am so sorry.
Yeah, well, but the only one that I'd say is, at this point is worth contacting is Booster Kiwi on the list. Okay. Because that was more so you could get on Drawn and Quartered, Fan Edition, or Ultimate Edition, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
And you need to keep in mind when you want to launch Cyclopian 2.
Yes, I know.
Which would then include the Cyclopian 1 and 2.
I know.
There's a whole nother promotion coming up for that.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm getting it. I'm putting it together.
I almost have Cyclopian 2 done. I was going through it. I have like 10 pages left to color, and then that should just about sew up the second issue. Mm-hmm. And then I have to tackle Cluster Fudge 2, which...
Maybe what you should do is put those two in the same campaign. Cluster Fudge 2 and Cyclopian 2.
I could if it's only... Like, I can do that for the Cluster Fudge crowd, but I can't do it for the Cyclopian crowd. Do you know what I mean? So, like, if I was to target adults, I could put Cyclopian in with Cluster Fudge, but I can't put Cluster Fudge in with Cyclopian because Cyclopian is more for all ages.
Well, as long as you say that, Cluster Fudge is for adults. Like, say the Buckler, when I was doing that's more for adults, where, Canadian Shield is more all ages.
Right.
It just, you let people know this book is more for adults, PG, whatever, whatever you're
moving.
Yeah. And, they most people know what their kids can accept because it's going to be the kids, but it's going to be the adults buying it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah.
That's true.
And, maybe if they're there for themselves and they see this kid book too, they pick it up.
Maybe they get both, yeah. Yeah, you're right, actually. I know we're going to have them both when we go to the convention. No. Putting them into a crowdfunder could be fun, though.
No, right? Obviously you don't have to do that. It's just an idea,
It is a good idea, though. I'm looking at her. I think she's getting a text message.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. What I guess, although it is in the description, where can people reach you, find you?
So if you want the book, we're at Kickstarter. Just search The Great Cyclopian. But we have HeroShack.com, which is a very easy portal. We don't update it a whole heck of a lot. I mean, it's tied into our Facebook, our Twitter, and our YouTube, which are other places you can get us. But HeroShack.com is the easiest, place to remember.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, we kind of hub it all out from there.
Yeah.
Oh, what about your YouTube, maybe?
Yeah, the YouTube is under Chris Levich right now, and that's because of the subscriber count that we have there. And that's also linked to HeroShack.com. So if you go there in the menu, you'll see all our social links.
Yeah.
That's because the name varies place to place. Like you'd think on YouTube, I'd use the Hero Shack channel, but I do have a Hero Shack channel. It only has like 4 subscribers. The channel for myself, the Christopher Levich channel, I think is still over 2,000.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it says 2K.
Yeah.
I saw that 2K. Wow! I thought you guys
But
would have
most
a
of those-
big following, but
No, but most of those are what you would call dead followers. They're real, but they're not active. So it's not like when you really have 2,000 not interested, engaging followers.
Right. They haven't. When we stopped the God chat and that, we sort of lost a lot of the. There's a lot of debate in that.
Yeah, there was a lot of religious debate, so we kind of dropped that, and then delaying that kind of made the channel dead, and then bringing it back. We've had a few come back, but it's a very slow process.
yeah.
I don't even think they know I'm making videos yet.
Yeah. Thank you, Lorenzo, for putting the channel or YouTube channel in the chat. A link to there. And yeah, like I said, Chris's Twitter's in the description. The Kickstarter's in the description. The YouTube's in the description. I think the only thing not in there is whatchamacallit.
Hang on, I'll send you my cell phone number.
Is the website. Oh, and Diana's. I wasn't sure whether she'd want me to put it in there. That's the only reason I didn't. I can.
That's fine. It's fine. If you didn't, that's fine too.
She's all over my Twitter these days anyway, so you'll find her.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
Princess Diana.
Yeah, Princess Diana.
I'm sure you're the only Princess Diana on Twitter, too.
I don't think so.
No? Do you have numbers at the end of your handle? Like on the real one, not the fake one? You know how you have the real handle and the fake one?
No.
Yeah, there's like the name you show everybody, and then there's like an @ name. So hang on, let me see how.
I'm new to Twitter, guys.
She keeps saying that. She's been on here forever.
Yeah,
so she's Diana Marie 777, but her screen name thing is Princess Diana.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Well, it's like me. I joined Twitter like I don't know, 10 years ago or something like that. I saw what it was, and I'm like, okay, screw this. I'm out of here. It's just all stupidity. It's people telling, yeah, I had a burger for breakfast. I don't need to know what you had for breakfast.
Or it's those dumb ones like, I saw a blue balloon and I'm offended, and here's why.
Well, I don't think it had become that yet. But I'm like, I don't need to know about this. And then I got into YouTube. People were using it for, communication, sending DMs, inviting people on their show. So I'm like, okay, I'll get a stupid Twitter account.
And I could never figure it out. I'm like, Chris, how do I do this? So we had to show me how to do it. Now I'm getting pretty good. And I'm like, I think I'm quickly becoming the gift girl. I love adding stupid nonsense gifts to all my tweets that Chris rolls his eyes at.
Yeah, I'm like, we all were the gift girl at one time. Whenever you find that gift button for about the first 6 months, you're like, oh, I've got a gift for that. I'm going to find a gift for that. And then you'll finally get sick of it.
I'm in sort of the gift stage. Sorry.
It's beautiful.
Okay, so with all that said, unfortunately, we can go on and on like this. But like you said, you guys
I have to go to bed. I got to get up super early in the morning.
So thanks everybody for stopping by. Make sure you go at least over and subscribe to the YouTube channel. They are on Mondays and Wednesdays, just either at 8 or 8:30.
Just to be clear, Monday is God Chat at 8, and Wednesday is the Hero Shack Chronicles at 8:30. Because we want people to come to the God Chat more than anything. We love it when that chat fills up.
Yeah. So yeah, go over, subscribe to them. Lorenzo put that in the chat, and if you can afford it, go grab their book. At least on PDF, you know.
That would be sweet.
You know, it's not much. It's only a measly little $5, and it won't come out off your credit card for another like 10 days.
There you go.
All right.
Thank you so much, Rick. I appreciate you having us on the show.
Okay, see y'all. Bye for now.